Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be recreating the Burger King website. It looks quite elegant and it is a very simple layout, but I love it because it kind of looks like the mobile design on desktop, and we're going to have a bit of fun to create this. I hope nothing goes wrong. So this is how it looks. This is the hero section, and then we have this grid, which is going to be quite easy if I do say so myself. And then we have this bottom section, and then we have a choose location here, and then we have our actual navigation bar on the bottom, and then we have another navigation bar which we are not going to create because it has quite a lot of things. And then we have this logo here which links back to the homepage obviously, and then we have this sign up here, and then we have our cart button right there. So it is a very nice looking website. We have the menu here which takes you to a store locator page, which is this one right here, and we can also do this, by the way. And then we have the code here that links back to the home page, I guess. And then we have the offers, which goes into the offers page, which should load, and we're going to have this showing up. And then we have the rewards page, which shows all this. So that's looking nice. And you know what, looking at this, I think I can do the entire website, which probably I will do. And so to begin, what we're going to do is I want to create a new Next.js application because we're going to be using Next.js. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and then I'm going to cd into my desktop and into a folder that is called YT videos. And then I'm going to say npx create -next app, and I'm going to call this I recreate Burger King, so BK. And then I'm going to let this run. Wait a minute, we need some few steps before we continue, if it is going to load in sometime today. So we don't want to use TypeScript. We want ESLint, we want Tailwind, we want the source directory, we want app router, and we want the default yes. So let this run, and then once it finishes running, we are going to continue. And so once that finishes running, then I want to open up an instance of Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to say code I recreate -bk, and that should open up this folder which I've just created. And there we go. So this is the default file structure that we have for Next.js, and you can see that we have installed Tailwind, and inside the source folder we have the app folder which has the layout, which has the page as well. And then now what I want to do before we begin is I want to install React icons, because React icons is what we're going to be using for these icons right here. So these ones, and this page has quite a few icons. So let me go ahead and say npm install react-icons, and then as that is running, we can go ahead into our app folder and then into our page.js. Now page.js is the default landing page that we're getting here. Sorry, not here, but oh, I haven't run my server. So let this finish running, and then you can run the server, and then I can show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and say npm run dev, and this should open up our application on localhost 3000. So right here, just click on this, and then we should be able to see our default Next.js application once it opens up. So this is the default landing page from Next.js, and that is what is showing inside the page.js. Now Next.js changed a few things such that now for every page that you're going to have inside the application, then they all need to have a page.js file inside, which is going to act as the main file for that particular page. And when you're creating other pages for this project, you're going to see how that is going to work. So for now, what I want to do is I want to go inside and remove everything inside here, and then just return a fragment and an h1 that says hello world, and then I can save that. And then obviously this is going to be blackened out because of dark mode, so we can go inside our globals.css, and then we can remove everything from here up to here. We can leave the tailwind inside because we're going to be using it, and then when I save this, then this should go back to white, and this should go back to black, and we have that. That's looking nice. And then inside our layout.js, this is where we're going to be adding in our metadata. So for now, all I want to do is I just want to render this text here as the title for the page that says Burger King, and then the description. Do we have a description of this website? Let me just say Burger King website recreation in Next.js. And then now this is also going to change the title Burger King and then the description as well. So let me set up a few global stuff that we need. We need a font here. Let me see. Inside our layout.js, we can import Google fonts in Next.js like so. Now I don't want this font. I want a font that is called Caprasimo. So let me say inside here, let me say, let me check if it's even available. So Caprasimo, is it? Enter. How is this imported? It's a capital I. So let me just test it out. So Caprasimo, and then here change this to this, and then this change it to a small letter C, and then change it here as well to a small letter C, and then save it. Let me see, does it change here? So unknown font, it doesn't have this font. So Caprasimo. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're just going to import it as default. Let's go ahead and select the regular 400. I mean, it's only one style, so let's use the import tab. Let's grab this, copy, and then on top of this we're going to paste it here, and then we want this to be for the heading. So for the h1, the h2, h3, h4, h5, and h6, we want a font family called Caprasimo, and the fallback should be cursive if I'm not wrong. Yes, the fallback is a cursive font because this is a cursive font. And then for the body, for the rest of the text, we want to use a font here that is called flamenco, like the dancing style. Now I don't know whether this is available in Next.js, but let me just check it out. Let me check it if it's available. So right, we're here. Let's check for a font that is called flamenco. Here it is. And then let's just copy, paste it here, and then here. Oh, sorry, not this should be a small letter F because we want it to reference this one. So flamenco, and that should be okay. So let me save it, and then let's add some bit of text here. Let this reload. So missing weight for font. Oh, we need to define the font weight. So a comma and then weight, and then this should be defined inside curly brackets. We want the 400. Not curly brackets, but square brackets. This is how you define the font. Let's save it. And then, is this going to reload today? Or did this not save? Let's remove this, save. And there we go. So this is the font that we're going to be using. Now, this font is not the same as this font. Just to be clear, I realized that this font is not the same as this one. I just like the flamenco font. I like how it looks. That's why I've chosen to use it. Now let's go ahead and do this. Let's continue adding some global styles here. We want the paragraphs to all have a line height of 1.8, and then we want the body to have a background color. So background color, and the background color here is going to be this one. So I'm going to use my tool here called color pick eyedropper. So copy this and then just paste it here as our background color. And then we need the text color. So the text color is this like a dark brown. So let's use our tool here again. Let's select this text, the color, sorry, and then the color here for the text is going to be this one. And then what else do we need? We need the color for the buttons. The color for the buttons is this red one. Let's go ahead and grab this once again. Let's copy this red one, copy, and then I'm going to say we're going to create a custom class here called, what should I call it? Orange. Should I call it orange or what? Or primary color? Now for this one, let me say, okay, you know what? Let's say text orange. So for the text orange is going to be this one for the button. So text orange, we're going to give it a color of that one. And then for BG orange, we're going to give it a background color of this one. Now I'm just realizing that we can probably do all this in Tailwind, and we might end up doing it in Tailwind if I forget these class names. So let me save that, and then let me see what else we need to do. We need this darker color, but for this one we can get it once we get to it. So that's looking okay, and we can begin to set up our components. So the first thing that I'm going to do is inside the source folder. Now make sure you're inside the source folder, not inside the app. So inside the source folder, I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call it components. So inside the components folder here, I'm going to create a new file that is called header.js. Now because we're using Next.js, I can use small letters for my components. So header.js, and then I can say RFC, because I'm using an extension that is called ES7 plus React Redux and React Native Snippets. So you can go ahead and install this extension if you want. If you don't want, you can just keep on typing this out. It's okay. And then here, change this to a capital H because it is a component. And then for now, let's just render a fragment. And then the header component is going to be here. And then we're going to render this button for our menu. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to create a div here, and then a button inside the div. And then I'm going to be rendering a component that is called FA bars from React icons, which you have just installed. And then you can go right here and say Control Spacebar, and it doesn't give me the option. So let's just manually import it. Let's say import FA bars from React icons /FA, which is font awesome. And then once you have that, then we need to create this this logo. Wait a minute, this is a logo, right? Is it? Let me just check if it is a logo or an image. Let's come on sometime today. Yes, it is. Really? Let's see. It's an SVG. It's an SVG. So let me grab the SVG here. So this is the SVG, right? So what you can do is just right click on this and say copy, and then copy element. So you can copy it, and then I can render another div here. Now because I want this to be linking back to the home page, so I want to render a link component. Now the link is the same as href in HTML, and this is going to take in an href, which is going to go back into / because we always want it to link to the home page. And then I'm going to close it out and then paste in the SVG element. Now see how large it is. Obviously I can't remember all this, so that's why I just copied the element so that it's going to copy the SVG for me. Now remember to import this on top, and obviously you can't pause the video to type all of this out, so I do recommend just going just selecting it using this tool. Select the SVG here, select the SVG, and then just come and right click here and then copy element. And if you can't do that, then all you need to do is just check the description for the repository. You can go ahead and clone the repository, and then it's going to have this for you. Now once you have that, then I want to go ahead and create these two buttons. So below this div, I'm going to create a UL with two list items. Now the first one, both of them are going to be buttons. So let's just create a button component here, button element, sorry. This one is going to say sign up. And then this second button, it's going to be a button, and it says $0.00. And then it has an icon here. Let me check. I can also get the SVG for this icon, but I probably don't want to do that because that is going to be quite a bit of I can't even get the SVG. If I were to get the SVG for every single icon, that would be quite a hassle. So let me just go into React icons, and then let me search for that logo. So let's go into React icons here. Let me search for, what's this logo called? What's this called? A shopping bag. It's a shopping bag. Let's see, shopping bag. Which is the closest one? How does it look? It has two dots. It has two dots. So this one is close. This one is also close. And this one, I think this one is the closest. Yes, this one is the closest. So let's use this one. And then because it's a React component, always render it inside your angle brackets and then close it out as well, like so. And then let me say Control Spacebar here, and it doesn't give me the option again, really. So let's say import this, import that from React icons /md, and that should be material design. Let me check. MD, material design. Yes, there you go. Now let's go ahead and save this, and then I want to be inside my page.js, which is, I know this is the main file for my homepage, and we are not using this, so we can remove it. And then now, instead of rendering hello world, I want to go ahead and render my header component, which is coming from components header. Now this should be an art. Wait, did I not use this one? Did I not? Let me just, can't resolve art components header. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this is this in the wrong folder? Is the component supposed to be outside? Let me drag it out. Let me check. No, that's wrong. It should be inside the source folder. Oh, wait a minute. I created the wrong hierarchy. I created the wrong hierarchy. Just look at that. Because of that simple thing, now I almost got stuck there for ages. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now this big thing is the SVG that we copied, and obviously we don't want it to be this big, so we're going to reduce it. Now just remember once again that you have the source folder, and then inside the source folder you have the app folder, and then we also have the components folder. So just make sure that this is the structure that you're working with, so that you don't end up with issues. Now let's begin to style out this header because it's looking quite ugly. Now let's go inside this header. Let's give it a class name of padding all round of 4. Let's give it a slight box shadow, and then let me say display this as a flex box, and then items dash center, and then justify dash between, which should now bring all of this here on top. There we go. Now where is our logo? Our logo should be somewhere. Let me check. It disappeared to somewhere, but I can't tell where it disappeared to. Where is our logo? We have the header. We have, okay, so it's here. This is the href. This is the logo, so it's not showing up. So let me go inside this, should be this one. And you know what, inside this SVG, oh, you know what, it's because of this. It's because of this. So we don't need this, by the way. We don't need this. I hope we don't. And then let me just check. I just realized that I need to check all of this in case it does not apply to React stuff. So let me see. Let's save that. Let me see what happens on the screen. Nothing happens. This is the problem with copying things. What error do you have in the console? So it says, did you mean class? Did you mean class name? So I think we solved that. So class, let me just confirm. Class name, okay. And then let's reload it. And this is what? Clip rule. So these ones also need to be camel case. So fill rule and clip rule. And then let's reload it once again to see what error that we have. And oh, we don't have any error. We don't have any other error. So now where's this div? Where is this div that has our logo? So it's right here. See where it is? It's right there on the blue square. I mean, not on the blue square really, but on this. Oops. Now look at that. But it's on this one. So why doesn't it show? Is it because it's behind the image? Let me say, give this a class name of relative and a z index of 50. Where does it go? Nowhere. Doesn't show. Let me say width dash 64 and height dash 64 and bg red 500 to see where this div is. There we go. So this is the div. But wait. Oh, wait a minute. Does it need to have a height and a width? It needs to have a height and a width. There we go. Okay. So let's reduce this down to about 20 for the logo. That's too big. Let's reduce it to about 5. and we have that's too small. Let's reduce it to what? Let's reduce it to, not reduce it, but increase it to 8. We can work with that. 8 looks okay. Yeah, 8 looks okay. Or even 9. Yeah, let's work with 9. And then now what we need to do is when we hover over this, then we need the BG to be what? It just needs to be slightly darker, because when you hover over this, then the background just goes, oh, it goes into this color here. So let me go ahead and just let me grab this color. Let's copy it, and then we're going to go inside our header, and then we're going to say that when you hover over this, then we want the BG to be this color. Add in your square brackets and then the hashtag, and then let me see the padding. The padding all around should be 1, and then let's add a transition of all with a duration of 150 milliseconds, and then let's test out what we have. So we have that. Okay, the image reduces a bit because now we have added a padding, but this looks okay. And then now let's fix this up. So let's go to the bottom, let's go inside this UL, give this a class name, and then we're going to say this, we're going to say display this as a flex box, which is going to bring all of this in raw form. And then I'm going to say items.center, and then we're going to say give it a gap of about 4 to separate it out. And then because this button has an icon and then this text, we can also display it as a flex box, because by default it appears on top of the button, which you don't want. So we can say this as a flex box, and then items dash center, and then give it a gap of 2 just to separate it out a bit. And we're going to have that looking okay. And then we're going to style this out to look better. Now I just realized that looking at this is too big. This is just too much, right? So I want to cut all of this div. I want to cut out this entire div, cut it out, and then I want to create a new component here called logo.js. And then inside here I'm going to say RFC, and then change this to a capital L. And then inside here, instead of returning a div, I want to return a fragment, and then just paste this in. Now once I paste that, I can save it, and then inside the header, now I can render the logo component, which should be coming from /logo right there. And we can remove this. This is no longer needed here. Oops, cut it out. But we need it in the logo so that it can actually display the correct thing. So that now our component, our application doesn't change, but our component structure here, now it just looks much more viewable, right? And much more manageable. Now once we have that, I'm thinking this text is a bit too small. So here, let me say set the font size to 20 pixels by default. So change it from the default 16 so that we're going to have this to be just a bit bigger. So that we're going to have that. That's much better, I think, even for the YouTube video. Now what we need to do, therefore, what we need now is we need to create this part. We need to create this part. Oh, and I've just realized this thing, it doesn't go all the way to the end. It doesn't go all the way to the end. We need to limit it. So let's go ahead and limit it. And the way we do that is now we need to break a few things. We just need to say we need to break from this div up to the UL, cut it out, and then create another div. And then this div is going to have a class name of max-width, which we're going to create, paste it in. And then now this breaks because now flex takes this div as the only item inside, so it breaks our application. So what we need to do is we need to grab this class names here, cut them out, and then just paste them here. And that is going to fix it. And then now what we need to do is just create this class, because I want to reuse this class for multiple components. So I can save it, and then into my global CSS below this, I can create a class called max-width. And then inside here, I can give it a tailing directive. So I'm going to say @apply a max width of about 4xl and an mx of auto, and that should bring this inwards a bit. That's too small. Let's say 6xl. Actually, is that too small? How much is this? So 6xl. Yeah, I think that's looking okay. Let me see how 7xl looks like. 7 is too big. Yeah, 7 is too big. Let's just use 6xl. It's okay. And then now for this one, I want to create a custom component that is going to be called notice. So inside components, let's create a new file here called notice.js, and then let's say RFC. Let's change this into a capital N. And then what we're going to do is inside our header, sorry, not inside our header, really. Wait a minute, do we need it inside the header or not? Those are real questions. So let me do it below this div. So below this div, I want to render the notice component, which we have just created, so that now we should be able to see the notice here, somewhere here. There we go. Okay, so I don't want it to be inside the div. I want it to be outside because I don't want this box shadow to persist. So I can grab this and just move it downwards, and that should fix it. It should now come here. There we go. And then now for our notice component, we're going to go inside it. We're going to cut this out, and then I'm going to return let me return a div, and then this div is going to have a class name, and I'm going to say bg dash and then my square brackets, because I want to go ahead and grab this color, and like I said, what So like I said, I was creating custom classes for these colors, but I can do them in Tailwind. I can just do them in Tailwind. So I can use my tool here, copy this, and then paste it here. And then now I can go ahead and say another class here. I can add a padding. Let me see. Padding of 4 on the left and right, and then a padding of 4 around. So let me go ahead and say give it a padding of 4 all around. So padding dash 4. And then save it. Let me see what happens here. That's too small. Let me see padding of on the X of 4, padding on the Y of 6, which is going to increase the padding here. Actually, you know what? There's no text inside here. There's no text. So we can begin to add the text, and the text here that just says Royal Parks. So is this an image? It's an image. So let me just save this image. So I have saved that image, and the image is right here. So inside the images folder, and it's called royalparks.svg. Now what we can do here is we can use the image component from Next.js. So import image from next image, and then the source for this image, we're going to import it, and I'm just going to call it Royal Parks. And then for this one, we need to have a custom width, which I'm going to say is going to have a width of 150, and a height, and I'm going to give it a height of 80. And then the alt attribute, I'm just going to say Royal Parks. And remember that we need this to be inside because we're using ESLint and we're not disabling any rules. So if you miss to have this, then your application is going to break if you try to deploy it. Now let's go ahead and import image. Oh, sorry, it's already imported. So we need to import the actual image. So import Royal Parks from art/images/royal-parks.svg. And then now I can save it, and then we should be able to see it on the screen right here. There we go. So that is our image. And then now this is going to go back to a padding all around of 4, so that this is not so big. And then on this other side, we need, is this an image? No. Oops. What? I did not mean to click that. Wait, what? Was I creating all that for nothing? What? Oh my god. I just did all that for nothing. And now my internet is even breaking down. I like this loading animation. I did all that for nothing. I did all that for nothing. Really? Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go inside the header, and then I'm just going to disable the notice here, and then disable this here. And then because I can't remember how it looked like on this other side, so there's no really any point in me continuing to create it. But we can now begin to add our hero section. So for the hero, we're going to create a new component here that is called hero.js, and then we're going to say RFC, change this to a capital H, and then inside here we're going to turn a fragment, and then we're going to turn a section. This section is going to be 2 articles, so the first article is going to be this text and the buttons, and then the second one is going to be our image here. So I'm going to say article here is going to be an H1 that says this. Let me just copy it, paste it here, and then below this we're going to have a UL with 2 list items, which are going to be buttons, and the first button here says order pick up, and then it has an icon, which remember we have already used, and the icon is the same one as this one. So let me just go inside our header, I think it was, grab this line and paste it on top here, then grab this as the component name here, and then we need the order delivery. So this is like a scooter or something. Let me see, scooter. So this one, GI scooter, we're going to use that one. So let's render GI scooter, and then this one says, the text says, where is it? Close this tab. The text says order delivery, so order delivery, and then we need to import this one. Let me see, still not working. So let's say GI scooter, not scooter, and then this one is coming from GI, and GI is GitHub icons or gourmet icons. Okay, now once we have that, then let's go ahead and save this, and then inside our page let's go ahead and render the hero section. So render the hero section from components hero, and we should be able to see our thingy right here, if it's going to load in today actually. Okay, there we go. So we have that. Now what we need to do is we just need to get the image here. So let me save this image as well, and this is going to be called the hero image. So let me save it as hero.webp file. So save it, and then inside our hero.js, below this article we're going to create another article, and this is going to be using the image component from Next.js, and then the source for this is going to be the hero that we're going to import, and then the width for this is going to be, let me say, about 800, and then the height is going to be 600, and then the alt attribute is just going to say burger, and then let's go ahead and import the hero. So let's say import hero from art/images/hero.webp, and then when I save it, then it should now show our image right here, and there we go. So that is our image showing up correctly. Now all you need to do is just style it out to look nice. So inside the section we're going to give this a class name of padding all around, padding on the x of 4, and then padding on the y of 10, and then we want it to be a grid with grid columns -1 with a gap of 8 to separate it out, and then for medium screens we want the grid columns to be 2, which is going to bring this here, and then I'm also going to say what items-center, which is going to bring this downwards right around to the center of this sometime today. There we go. And then I want to limit this so that it doesn't go to the end. So remember we created a custom class of max width, just that I don't have to keep on typing this all over again. So I can just type it once. Where is it? Here. And then down, this limits it, right? And then what we can do is, this image is a bit too small. That is because we only have 2 grids here. So let me try something technical here, and I can say that for medium screens this can be grid columns 3, and then what I want to do is, for this second article I want to give it a class name, and I want to say that for medium screens, then the column span, the column span should be 2, meaning it should span 2 columns from here to here. If that's correct, there we go. Would you look at that, looking nice? And then let's style this out to look better. So inside here, give this a class name, and we're going to say text-4xl, and then for large screens, text 5xl, and then margin bottom of 8. And then for this UL, we're going to say, give this a class name of flex and flex-column, and then give it a gap of about 4 to separate it out. And then for, let me see, let me see, these icons look okay, but for this button, I'm going to give this button a class name of, what class did I give here? BG orange. So class name here, and I'm going to say BG-orange, and then text white, which is going to do something here on this button. And I just realized I did not style this button. Okay, and then that is going to do that. And then you realize that this icon needs to come on the bottom, so we need this to be a flex box. So display flex and then item center, and then give it a gap of 2. And then let's copy these classes, and we're going to do the same thing on this button. So give this a class name of this, and then we're going to have that happening. Nice. And then right here, we're going to say padding on the Y of 3 and padding on the X of 5, and then rounded dash full, which is going to give it a rounded border. There we go, looking nice. And then how does this second button look like? So the second button is red, but without the thingy, without the background. And that's not red, that's orange, right? Now, the way we're going to do that is I want to grab this color here. So copy this color. And then on this second one, I want to give it a border. And then the border color is going to be this one. So hashtag that. And then I want to give it a padding on the Y of 3, a padding on the X of 5, and a rounded dash full. And then the text is also going to be the same color. So hashtag that. So that now we're going to have, there we go. And then this should be bold in font. Can I make it font bold? Will that work? Because I did not import that particular weight. Oh yeah, it works. Okay. And this probably needs to be font bold as well. So here, font dashboard. Now that is our header and hero section. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and copy these class names here and then paste them on the header on this button, which is, I think it was the sign up that had the classes. Yes. So copy and paste it and save it. And then this should get the classes. Get the classes sometime today, please. Really? Wait, is this not reloading? What? Oh, my machine has started. Okay, there we go. Now this button is obviously too big, so I want the text here to go back to small to make it smaller font. And then the padding Y is not going to be 3. The padding Y is going to be maybe 1, and then padding X is going to be 3. And come on, really? Okay, this is too small. Let's say padding Y2. Padding Y2, reload. Okay, and then padding X, I don't know whether you can see this. Let me bring it down. So padding X is going to be 4. And we're going to have, yeah, I think that's okay. And then I just realized that this button is styled differently as well. So let's go ahead and copy the hero images here, the hero class names. Copy, wait, what? That's the wrong class. I need this color. Okay, so let's go inside the header. Let's paste let's paste these classes. So copy, paste them here, and then let's copy this class name, this color, sorry, and then flex item center gap 2. We can remove this because they're the same classes. And then here we don't want a border. Where's the border? Oh, the border is not there. So you want the BG to be this color, and then the text is going to be white, and then the padding Y is going to be 2, padding is 4. Okay, rounded full, font bold. Let me save. Let's see what happens to this button. And that's the wrong color. What color did I copy? Wait, is this what? This color is darker. What classes is this button taking? Oh, you know what? BG orange is here. Save it, guys. I'm getting tired and actually just want to take a break right away, and then I'm going to continue later. So yeah, that's looking okay for our buttons. And then order delivery, okay. And then our, okay, this can be bigger, I guess. That can be bigger. But the next section that we're going to create is this one right here. And for this one, I'm going to create an array of objects just so that we can use some different skills. So I'm going to save all these images and then create an array of objects. So let me do that right away. Okay, so I have downloaded these 4 images, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I have called them card 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're inside the images folder. So now what I want to do is I want to create a new component, and I'm going to call it grid, which is going to be housing these 4 items. And then I'm going to create an array of objects, which is going to hold that data. So inside components, I'm going to create a new file that is called grid.js. And then inside here, I'm going to say RFC, and then change this to a capital G. And then we're going to return a fragment here. And let me see. Let's just go ahead and create the array of objects right away. So I'm going to say const cards equals to an array of objects. And the first one is going to be the path to the image. And this should be // images / card-1.webp, and then the title for this is going to say, let's just copy this and paste it here, and then this is going to have another description, and the description is going to say this, and then below this, now when you see this right here, what you can do is you can substitute this with the what's it called, the single quotation mark on your keyboard, or you can use what are called HTML entities, and you can say ampersand quote, which is going to introduce this. Now the problem in this is JavaScript is reading this as a string. So in order for this to actually show up in your HTML or to be rendered correctly, then you would have to render this using dangerously set inner HTML, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to remove this and place my single quotation mark there. And then we're going to go ahead and say we need this link. So the link for this is going to say see terms, and then below this we're going to have a button, and the button says enter now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for the rest of the 3 cards remaining. So let me just copy this down 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3, and then this is card 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So we're going to change this title. So let's copy this. That's the wrong one. So copy this, paste it here, and then copy this text and paste it here. And then the link remains the same, and then this is order delivery. So order delivery. And then for number 3, we have this one. So join the team. So this one here. And then we have the text. Paste it here. And then now this one doesn't have the link, right? So this is just going to be an empty string so that we don't get any errors. And then we need to substitute this with our single quote. And then this one says apply today. So apply today. And then this one says this as the title, and then this one as the text. Okay, and then see terms, and then join now. So join now. Now once we have that, then what I'm going to do is I need to get the use state hook from React. So use state from React. And then for my state values, I'm going to specify cards, and we don't need the function because we're not going to be using the function anyway. So this is going to be equal to use state, and by default we're going to pass in this. Wait a minute. Well, this is going to be an issue, so let's change this to card. Let's change this to card so that this is going to be referencing our array of objects, our data. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to return a div with a class of max width, and then with a padding on the y of 20 and a padding on the x axis of 4. And then once we do that, then we are going to return another div inside, And then inside this div, we're going to be mapping over this card that we have. So I'm going to say card.map. And then for every card that we get back, I'm just going to call it C. I also want to get back the index. And then inside here, I want to return an article with the key of index. And then inside this article, I want to render the image first of all. So I'm going to be using the image component. So make sure you import it. And then the width for this image is going to be, let me say, what is this like? This is about 900 maybe. So let me say this is 500 for the width, and then the height is going to be, let me say, 300. And then the alt attribute for this is going to be c.title, meaning we want to go inside the object and get the title inside, and we do that using dot notation, where we say c.title because we have not destructured it inside here. And then we actually need the source for this. So the source for this is going to be c.image, and hopefully this works. I don't know whether this is going to work, but if it doesn't work, then we're going to do a bit of refactoring. So we know that the image comes first, and then below the image we have like this kind of div or article, which is white. So we're going to go below this image, we're going to return an article, and then inside here we're going to return an h2 that says c.title. And then below this h2 we're going to return c.description, so desk. And then below this we're going to return an anchor tag, which is basically a link, but we're not linking our pages together, so I don't want to return a link. I'm going to return a button instead. And then this is going to say c.button, and then below this we're going to have another button, so another button. And then this is going to say wait a minute, this one should say c.button, this one should say c.link. I mixed it up. Now I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go inside my page.js, and then I'm going to render the grid. So let's render grid from components grid. Let's save it, and then inside our application, once it reloads, then we should be able to see what is wrong. Use state only works in a client component, so we need to go to the top of this, and then right above this we need to say use client. And then this says yeah, this I suspected that it would not correctly match these images. So let me select this and say dot slash. Let me see, will that work, or does it have to come from the images folder? Let's see. Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab these 4 images. So these 4, we're going to cut them out, and then inside my public folder I'm going to create a new folder called images, and then inside these images I'm just going to paste in the 4 images that we cut out. And then now when I reload this, then it should work, but it still doesn't work for some reason. Dot slash images / card1.webp card2. So this is not working, this is not working. Let me see, let me try something. Let me import card1 from /images / card-1.webp, and then inside here, inside the image here, let me render card1. Are you going to show up? Can't resolve images card1. What? Can't resolve. Is this not the correct one? Oh, I cut them out. Okay, copy and paste it here just for debugging purposes. Let's reload and let's see. So we should see 4 images of the same. Okay, so that means this is working correctly, but it won't work here. It doesn't work. Okay, so let's do a bit of cheekiness here. Let's do a bit of cheekiness. So I want to import the 4 cards that we're going to be using, the 4 images. So let me copy this 3 more times. So card 2, card 3, and card 4. Change this to card 2, card 3, and card 4. And then I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Change this to card 2 and copy and paste it here. Change this to card 3 and then paste it here. Change this to card 4, and then we can change this into c.image, and then when I save it, it's going to break because we don't have these images here. So we need to go ahead and copy these 3. So copy and paste them back inside here. So paste them, and then I think we can actually delete this folder. So delete that one, and then now when it reloads, and there we go. So we have our 4 images looking nice. Now I'm realizing that the width of 500 was a bit too small, so let me change this to 600 just to make it a bit bigger. And then now let's go ahead and now display this as a grid. So we're going to go inside the parent, which is this div, and we're going to give it a class name of grid, and grid columns really 1 with a gap of 8. And then for medium screens, we're going to say grid, oh my god, grid dash columns dash 2. Let me sit up straight. So grid columns 2, and then when I save it, then now they appear side by side. That's looking okay. So let's go inside this article and give this article a class name of bg white, which will make it white, as you can see. And then we're going to go ahead and give it a rounded of large, which is going to make it rounded right around on the edges here. It's just a bit rounded. Now we just need to make the images rounded on the top. So inside the image right here, we're going to give it a class name of rounded dash top dash large, which will give it an even rounded border on the top. There we go, just as it is on the bottom. And then probably we can go inside the article and give it a slight box shadow because I'm having trouble seeing where the white is ending. So I think that's much better. And then let's go inside this other article and then display it as it should be. So here, give this a class name of padding all round of 4 to push everything inwards. And now let me place this to the right so that I don't have to keep on switching every time. So padding of 4 all round, and then inside this h2, we're going to give it a class name and say that for large screens, then the text should be 2xl to make it just a bit bigger. Give it a margin on the bottom of 8 to push away from the paragraph. And then for this paragraph, we're going to give it a class name of text-small to make it smaller, and margin bottom of 4 to push away from this link. And then on this link, we're going to give it a class name, and we're going to say underline to give it a slight underline, and then give it a margin on the bottom of like 8 to push away from this button. And we're going to have that. And then for this one, I'm also going to say text-small, text-small. Actually, no, not small, but base. Actually, what? How does that look? Oh my god, reload. I think that's actually okay. So, but you know, we because I chose a thinner font, so I think this should go back to base, which is 16 pixels. Okay, that's horrible. So let's just use small. And then let's go ahead on this button. And for this button, I'm going to go ahead and say, give it a class name of block so that it goes on the next line. Come on, go on the next line. There we go. So that now this margin on the bottom of 8 actually works. And then I'm going to say, give it a margin on the left of auto, which should now bring it to the right around here. Come on, reload. There we go. And then it needs to have the same styles as like this button here, but it is only darker in color. So let me go inside the hero. Let me copy the classes for this button. So copy. And then here, let me paste in, what have I done? I should copy the class names. The class names are these ones. Copy and paste them here. But we don't need flex. We don't need item center. We don't need the gap of 2. but we do need the border, and then the border color should be the darker one on our body, which is this one. So copy this and paste it here and here, and then that should do it. So let's save this. Let's see what happens to the button. Okay, that's terrible. So border dash, oh, you know what, it should be text small, so text dash small, and that should do it. There we go. So enter now. Wait, did I just do that wrongly? I just did that wrongly, didn't I? Yes, this should be this color. It should be the other color. Really? What was this other color? Let's copy this, paste it here, save it, and now when it reloads, we're going to have that. There we go, looking fantastic. Now this text is really unreadable. It's very unreadable. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue, and now let's build out this section. And then for this section, I'm going to create a component, and I'm going to call it mobile.js. And then here I'm going to say RFC, change this to a capital M, and then I'm going to go ahead and let me close this and this and this one and this one. Inside page.js, I'm going to render mobile, which is coming from components mobile, imported right here. And then when I save it and take a look, we should be able to see mobile somewhere right around, like, there we go. So there. Now we need to build this out. So let me go ahead and grab this color first of all. Come on, so copy this color, and then inside my mobile component, I want to render a fragment, and then I want to return a section, and the section is going to have a class name of bg dash, and then I'm going to paste in my color, and then I'm going to say give it around a padding on the y of 20. And then inside this section, I'm going to have a div with a class of max width to limit all this that it doesn't go to the end. And then inside here, I'm going to have two articles. So the first article is going to be the font image that we have here. And then the second article is going to be an h2 that says this. And then, come on. Okay, so this is on the next line. So let's grab this and place it inside a span, like so. And then below this h2, we're going to have a ul with two list items. And then these list items are going to be this one and this one. Now these are SVG images. We are going to grab them in a moment. This should be two. And then below this UL, we're going to have a paragraph that says this. So copy and paste it in. So we need what? We need this SVG. So let me go ahead and say, actually, we also need this image. I downloaded this image, and the image is called font.webp. So let's go ahead and say import font from art/images /font.webp. And then inside here, we're going to give it a height, or rather the source is going to be font. The width for this is going to be like 200. The height is going to be 400. And then the alt attribute is going to say, let me see what is the, what is save data. Let me copy this, paste it here, format this well, and there we go. Did I put an alt attribute on the other ones on the grid? Okay, yes, I did. Okay. So now that we have that, let's import this image component. There we go. Push it upwards. It is a high level import. And then let's go ahead and grab these two SVGs. So let's inspect. And then when we inspect, we should be able to grab, oh my God, will you stop? So we should be able to grab this, the SVG. I want the parent SVG. Okay, can just grab that, and then the SVG is right here. So just right click, copy, and copy element, and then paste it here. It is huge. And then for this second one, we're going to do the same thing. So grab this, copy the SVG. So copy this, what is it? Copy this SVG, copy element, and paste it here. Those are, oh my God, that's too much. And just like we did before, we can refactor this so that it doesn't look so ugly. Now, before we do that, we need to do a few things. We need to change what? There are some things we need to change. Like these class names don't really do anything here. And we can actually remove them, by the way, so that they don't give us issues. So SVG view box, let me see. Path field. I want the one that is called clip. So these ones now have to be clip rule. They have to be common case. This has to be clip path. This has to be clip rule. This one clip rule, and then do the same thing. So let me show you what you can do here. You can select this text and say Control D. So 1, 2, and it selects the corresponding text. So clip rule, so that now I can just say clip rule and it changes it everywhere that that text appears. So that looks okay. And then let's go ahead and grab this entire UL, cut it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, let me create a new component here that says what, download.js, and then let's say RFC inside here, change this to a capital D, change this to a fragment, and then let's just paste this in, so that now I can save the download, and then I can just render the download component here. And make sure that you import it from the correct file, so it's coming from /download. And then when I save this and Prettier formats it, then we should be able to see something on the screen once it reloads. And there we go. So this is our SVG image, SVG, and then this is our font, which is obviously too small. So we need to do what? We need to increase this to about 600 maybe. Yep, there we go. So 600, looking a bit better. I mean, 600 is too big. So we need it to be around maybe like 400 maybe. And then now we just need to style this out to look better on mobile as well as on desktop. So let's begin with the mobile version right here. Let's see. So for this one, I can go inside this image. I can give it a class name of, come on, block and MX auto, which should center it, I hope. And then for this H2, I can give this a class name, and I can say, what is it, text-3XL to make it bigger, and then margin bottom of 8, push it downwards. And that's looking nice. And then for this UL, now we're going to go inside the download component because we need to style this UL. We're going to say, give this a class name, oops, and we're going to say flex. Let me see what happens. Should place them now side by side, but they don't appear because they need to have fixed widths. So give this a class name, and I can say width-1/2. Oh, width-1/2. Really? No, let me say flex1. Let me say flex1. That is a much better class. Flex-1. My God. And then do the same thing for the second list item, which begins right around here. Paste it here. And then nothing happens. Okay, there we go. So it hadn't reloaded. Flex1, that's looking okay. So once we have that, then I want to go back. I guess we're actually done with this component. I hope we're done with it. So I can now go inside this paragraph, give it a class name, and say margin top of 8 to push away from this part, and then let me say text dash small to make it smaller, and it's going to shrink massively. And then let's go inside the parent section, and then inside this parent section I want to give it a padding on the X of 4 to push all this inwards so that it's not so close to the edge. There we go. And I just realized that this needs to be in the next line, and this needs to have some space. So right inside the span, I'm going to give this a class name, and I'm going to say class name of block, which is going to take it into the next line. And then back inside the download component, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to give it a gap of about 4 to separate out these two items. So right around here, there we go. That's looking nice. Now we just need to scale this up for larger screens. So right at about medium screens, obviously I don't want this to happen. So at about medium screens, What we're going to do is this needs to display on the left, and then this needs to come on the right. So we're going to go back inside our mobile component, and then inside, which one is it? Inside this div, because this div is the parent of the first article and the second article. So we're going to say display this as a grid with grid columns -1, grid columns -1 with a gap of 8 just to separate them out. And then on medium screens, we're going to say grid columns -2, which will now bring this here. Reload. There we go. So we have that, and then we need this to come down. So we are going to say, what? We're going to say medium screens items -center. So once we have that, then this needs to be bigger. How big do it? So just a bit bigger. So right here, we're going to say that for large screens, then the text should be 5XL. Make it a bit bigger. And then this font needs to move upwards. So I had a padding on the Y of 20, remember? So on the font here, what we can do is we're going to say that for medium screens, then we want a minus margin on the top of 40. So 20 to move it up to here, and then 20 more to move it just a bit upwards. And then what we can do is we can increase the margin on the top for this component. So right on this section, we can say margin top, for large screens. Wait, for medium screens, we say margin on the top of about 10, just to increase this a bit so that this font is not so close to this. And we're going to have that looking nice. And then the height for this is a bit too big. That's why there's a lot of space here. So if I reduce this to 200, what happens? Reduce. Nothing happens. Reload. So nothing happens there. If I reduce this to 100, still nothing happens. Well, that's okay. Oh, and by the way, these are actually links. If you take a look at this, these are actually links. You can link them. The links are on the bottom left if you want. So you can link them right here, but I don't want to do that. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to create this thingy here. And for that, I'm just going to go, let me see. Let me go below this article, below this section, sorry. Create a div. And this div is going to have a class name of this color. So let me say, give it a class name of bg dash, and then my brackets, and then paste this in, and then give it a padding all around of 4, and then a text of white, and a text of center, and a text of small. And then inside here, let's just copy this and paste it inside. Save it, and we should see something on the screen, and voila, there we go. So this is the thing right here, and you can make this into a link. Remember that this is a link as well right here, which can link to this page. Now next, I don't want to do this choose a location, but I want to create this bottom navigation. So for that, I'm going to create a new component called bottom nav.js, and then I'm going to say RFC inside here, change this to a capital B, and then inside here we're going to render a nav element. So for the nav element, we're going to have a UL with how many? 5 list items, so UL times 5. And then you know what, inside each one of these, they need to be linking to certain pages, so we need to render the link component. Remember to import it as well from next link. And then each of these is going to have an href, so just click on this, hold down the alt key, click on the second one and the third and fourth and fifth to add the multiple cursors. So the href for this is going to be going into certain links. So for the first one, we know that this is the homepage, so it goes into /. The second one goes into / menu, which we're going to create, then my code, then offers, then rewards. So my dash code, then offers, then rewards. And then we need icons for this. So let's go back into React icons. Let's search for home. So let's search for this icon. So this icon is this one. So let's go ahead and just render our component here. Let's say import this icon from React icons /go. And then the next one is menu. So let me say menu. What happens? No. What? Burger? No. Oh wait, what? There's a logo for so we had an option not to use the SVG as well, so you can just use this one. But let me say food. What happens here? What comes? Okay, there we go. So we need which icon? So this one, and then the cup. We can use this one. Let's go ahead and say import this one from React icons /io, and then render it here. So paste it in. I should probably add the text as well. So home and then menu. And then this one is my code. What is my code? My code is 1, 2, 3. So code. That's not going to work. We should probably search for something like number. Number, I think, would show better results. Number. 1, 2, 3. No. Let's see. Nothing. Okay. So this seems to be the closest one, but not really close, but we can use that one. So render our component here and say my code. And then this is imported from the same place as this one. So just place a comma and then paste it in. And then next is offers and then rewards. Offers or offer. Wait. What can we search for here? Token? No. Let me search for rewards first. So rewards or reward. What's this thing called? What is it called? What do we call this? And you know what? We can actually pick the SVGs from here. But the reason why I don't want to do that is because I don't know how to animate SVGs. Well, actually, this is a PNG image. Now, the reason why I don't want to do this is because I don't know how to animate these images, like how to make this one red. So let me search for coin or coins. Okay, we have hope. So we can use this one if we don't happen to get a closer looking one. And actually there's none. So let's use this one. And let's say import this one from React icons /gi. And if you can't tell from my voice, I'm actually getting tired. So let me say offers. This one says offers. And then this one says rewards. Now, what is this thing called? I can't remember its name. If I could remember its name, it would be much easier. Oh, okay. Let's use this one. I think this one is much better because it is a bit longer. So let's paste it in. And then let's do the same here. So import this one from React icons /fa. And there we go. Now this one says what? Rewards. So let's go ahead and save this. And then let's go inside page.js. Let's render it below this. So bottom nav and import it as well. So that now we should be able to see our bottom nav below this one. Right. Come on, really? What? Are you serious? Bottom nav. Are you serious? What is this error? Unsupported server component type. Export default function bottom nav. Link. Go home. What? Let me search for this error. I don't know what this error means. From components. Okay, so let's see. These are some of the things that I usually cut out of videos, but you know, sometimes it's good to have them exist. Okay. So if you add use client directive, is it because of the use state that we did? Hmm. 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 Let me see. So they're saying use client is probably the best. I mean, according to what I'm reading. So I don't know whether that is going to work. So let's reload. Okay, so it says element spreader. We likely forgot check render method of bottom nav. Export default function bottom nav. Bottom nav. What is being rendered here? Components bottom nav. Bottom nav. I mean, that is the name of the file that I have, right? Or no, don't tell me this is because this is camel case. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Bottom nav small, and then inside here bottom nav. Is that correct? Bottom nav. So we need it to be this component instead. So bottom, this should be bottom nav small, bottom nav small. But this doesn't still register. So import this from it's not registering, so let's restart this. Let's restart. Oh my god, will you quit? So restart, and then this should come and it should say import bottom nav from @/components bottom nav. So it's not register, it's not registering this bottom nav. Okay, so we are still getting the same error. That means that the issue is right here. So let me remove this, and then let me disable all this. Disable it, and then let's save it. Okay, so reload, come on. Okay, so bottom nav component has issues. Now the issues that it has are most likely from it's this one. Oh my god, I'm sure of it. I am sure of it. I am sure that this is the issue, because we're importing it from IO. I don't know why it does that, but when you import it from IO, it doesn't work, and when you import it from IO5, it works. So let's re-enable all this. Let's save, and let's save application. Come on, please. There we go. Oh my god, really? So annoying. Okay, now let's go ahead and begin building this out. We know that this is going to be a flexbox. and then item center, and then justify between, give it a padding all around of 4, give it a slight box shadow. Can I give it a shadow top? No. So a slight box shadow, and then it's going to appear here. There we go. And then let me see how does it look. So it is centered, so this is not between, this is evenly, it is either evenly or around, so that it doesn't go all the way to the end. There we go. And then I want a flex wrap of flex wrap, so that in case it shrinks down to a very small screen size, then they automatically go into the next line. And then now what I want to do is, for each one of these list items, I want to give it a class name of text-small to make the text just a bit smaller, but it's going to affect the icon as well, I think. Yeah. And then if I go here and give this icon a class name of text-base, what happens? Does it override? Or it overrides. So let me say text-2xl to make it just a bit bigger for the text, and then this one is also just a bit smaller. Now let's go ahead and copy this and paste it here and here and here and here, and then copy this and paste it here. So just click on this first one and then hold down the Alt key and click here and here and here, and then paste it in. And then when you save it, then it's going to shrink down and it's going to increase the size of the fonts. And then for the fonts, let me see what happens if I say text-center here. Is it going to center, or do I need to make it a block element so it doesn't center it? But if I go and make it a block element and then say MX Auto, it should now center it properly. Come on, there we go. So let's add in these two classes. So copy, paste it here and here and here and here, paste it in, so that now this is centered properly. Okay, and then on hover, I want the text color to change into this red one. So copy and paste it inside here, hashtag, and then just copy this and paste it here. And actually not, wait, I copied the wrong one, 0 0, and then close it out. I also want this to be on focus, so let me grab this, Control D, and then just add another line here, and then change, and then change this to focus. So on focus, then they will change. And then what is this? Hover, on hover text, and then on focus, remove this, and then remove this, change this to focus. Okay, so that now when I hover over it, then this is now going to change to red if it does so sometime today. Wait, this one's not triggering. Focus, hover, text, on hover, text dash, hashtag D992200. Why are you not triggering? Why is it? Really? Why are these other ones triggering and this one is not triggering? I hate this, man. Let me copy these class names and paste them here. And then let's save it, and then now trigger, will you? Okay, there we go. Now what was the issue? What was the issue? Oh, you know what? I know what the issue was. We did not have a space here. That's the issue. It was the space here that was missing. Oh my god. Now once we have that, then obviously we need to link our navigation, because as you can see, this one, when you click on this, it takes us to the home page, right? Obviously we're on the home page, and then when you click on this is also the home page, and then this does nothing, this does nothing. But we want to be able to go into the menu page, because when I click on this, it doesn't, it shows up as a bad link, as an error 44 if it's going to show up sometime today. Okay, there we go. So it shows up as a 404 page, but we want that when you click on this, it should go into this page, which shows this. So I don't know, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? I mean, this doesn't really have any content. I would like a page that has some bit of content. This is just the home page. We want the offers. What does the offers have? So the offers has all this. We can do all this. We can do that. Hello everyone. So in the last video, we built out this home page and it is looking quite nice. And so in this video, I want us to begin building the other pages. Now the other pages are as follows. We have the menu page, which is basically this. It has a pickup location where you can find your location, your favorites, as well as your recents. And then it has a delivery section, which opens up a model. And then that is pretty much it for this page. It has quite a few components and functionalities that we are going to be implementing, because we need to be able to switch these tabs. And then we want that when you click on this button, then this model opens up. So we're going to be doing that. And then once we do that, then we know that the my code, this page is basically the home page, which you already have. And then the / offers is basically this part that has offers of meals that are available. So it is quite an easy page to do. And then finally, we have the rewards page, which is the easiest of all because it's basically just UI. And this is an image, and then this is also an image, and then this is just text, and then a button. And so therefore, what I want to do is I want to start with the rewards page because it is the easiest of them all. And then I'm going to go to the offers page and then go to the menu page. Now, I want to mention that I took a look at this website in Mozilla Firefox, and Firefox did not have this part. It did not have this icon for the my code. And then on Firefox, the location here, this part is on top. And you know what? I can actually just open it up to show you. So this is what we have on Firefox. So Firefox, this part is on top. And then what was I saying? The menu here, sorry, the icons here are only 4 as opposed to the 5 that are here. So I guess it's just a pretty simple change. Just in case you're using Firefox, I thought it would be beneficial to mention this. So right away, let's go into VS Code, and we are going to begin with the rewards page. And what I'm going to do is inside my workspace and then inside my app folder. Now I'm going inside my app folder because we want to create a new page. So inside my app folder, I'm going to create a new page, a new folder, sorry, that is called rewards. And then inside rewards, I'm going to create a new file called page.js because page.js is going to be the parent file for every other component inside here. Now we are not going to be placing components inside this part. I'm going to show you how we're going to divide it. So let's have RFC inside here first of all, just to generate this, and then change this into rewards, and then change this into rewards page, and then save it. And then now if I go ahead and navigate into / rewards, then what we should get is some text that says rewards page. So that is looking nice. And then what we're going to do is inside components, I'm going to create a new folder called rewards. And then every component for the rewards page, I'm going to place it inside here. And that is the file structure that we're going to use for every other page that we're going to be creating. Now that means that I need to restructure all of this. So I'm going to create a new folder here called home, and home is going to have all of this. So all these components, just select all of them and then just drag and drop them inside the home folder. And then as they go inside, then I hope that our application doesn't break. Now all we need to do is just check our page.js. So inside the app and then inside the page.js, we just need to update these imports here. So this is going to go into / home, and then let's just copy this part. Really copy this and paste it here, and paste it here, here, and there we go. So this is already updated. So let's save it, and then let's make sure that all of this is going to reset. There we go. So we have the rewards page, and then let's just go back to the home page to make sure that everything is working correctly. And there we go. So looking fantastic. Now let's click on our icon here, because now this should now navigate to rewards, because remember we already built it out inside home, inside header.js. So we already built out the functionality. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, sorry, it was in bottom nav. In bottom nav. So rewards goes into /rewards. So that's looking nice. And so what we're going to do is, let's see, we need our heading to appear on top. So inside rewards, inside our actual rewards page, we want to be able to show the heading, right? So this big heading. And so what we're going to do is we want to render the header. I think it's what it was called. And then just say control spacebar, and then this is going to give you this drop down, and then just select this, which is going to auto import it on top. And then remember to close it out, so that now when you save it, then we should be able to see our header on top right here if it reloads. And there we go. So we don't have to keep on redoing the same application every single time. And then something else that we need is we need this menu to appear on every page. So this menu appears on every page. Now what we're going to do is, inside our layout.js, we are going to import the bottom nav. So I'm going to say import bottom nav from components bottom nav, and then we are going to render it inside here. So children comes first, but the bottom nav is going to be on the bottom. So bottom nav, so that now when I save this, then our entire component, or rather the other components, are going to show up, and then on the bottom nav is going to show if this reloads. And there we go. So this is our bottom nav, right? And then I've just realized something. If I go back to the home page, the bottom nav doesn't show until right here. Now see, this is the problem. Why we actually need to fix this. And then the other thing that we need to fix is we need our nav, our bottom nav, to scroll with us. So we need it to be able to scroll. And I think the heading also scrolls. Yeah, this also scrolls. So let's just go ahead and fix that before we begin, so that you don't have many issues. So we're going to go inside the page.js, so inside app and page.js, which is our home page, and then we're going to remove this one because we no longer need it to be rendering here, because we have set it to render on every page. That will remove this top one, or one of these two, so that we don't have one. And then inside bottom nav, we're going to go inside the parent of bottom nav, which is the nav, and we're going to give this a class name of fixed. And fixed is going to allow it to scroll with us. Obviously it's going to break just a bit, but it's going to allow us to scroll with us. So it is somewhere, let me just give it a z index of about 50, so that it always appears on top, and it should be somewhere. If it reloads today, where is it? I can't find it. Okay, I can't find it here, so let me give it a bg of red-500 and a width of full, to see whether it's going to appear somewhere. Really? Okay, let me find it in my inspect tool, just to see whether it's actually rendering on the page. I have issues with the console log. What is this? Oh, these are issues with the SVG. I need to fix these issues with the SVG. So let's see, where's my nav? Let's check the elements. The nav should be here. Where does it appear? So it appears outside. It appears outside of the elements. So list item. How did I structure this? So position fix, Let me give it a padding. Let me give it a padding all around of 4. And then let's see. Is this going to show up sometime today? Really? The nav is still not showing. Okay. So let's go inside our header component, which is inside home, and it is called header.js. And then header.js we know is this top part. So let's go ahead and change this to a fixed position, and that should break it just a bit. If it reloads sometime today, please. Okay, there we go. So we have it now here, and you can see that it kind of overlaps with other elements. So what we want to do is we want to make this a full width, so width full, to make it span all the way to the end. Please, if you're going to reload today, there we go. And then now this obviously just what is it, it kind of takes it back to its original orientation, but we now need it to have a background color. See that, so that when we are scrolling it actually has a background color. So here we're going to go inside our globals.css. We're going to grab, which color do we have it? This one. We're going to grab this color from the body, and then inside the header we're going to give it a bg dash and then our square brackets, and then pass in our color, so that now this is going to have the actual color, so that now we can see that it scrolls and it is on top of every other element. So that is looking okay. And just to be safe, I'm going to give it a z index of 50, so that it is always going to be on top of every other element. Now all you need to do is just increase the padding on the top of this element, which is the hero. So let's go inside the hero.js. Let's go on top, and we're going to say that give it a padding on the top of 20, and then a padding on the bottom of 10, which is just going to push this downwards a bit more, so that we have a bit more scrollable stuff here, just a bit more space. And then what we need to do is we need to do the same thing for this menu, so that now this menu is also going to scroll with us. Therefore, let's go ahead into our, it is called the bottom nav, and inside here we're going to give this a class name, just like on the header. We're going to make it fixed. We're going to give it a width of full. We're going to give it a bg of the same color that we had, and then we're going to say give it a z index of 50, so that it is also going to be on top of every other element. And then what else? We want it to be on the bottom of 0, meaning on the bottom of the screen, and then we want it to be on the left of 0, so that it starts on the left, so that when I save it, then let me see what happens here. There we go. So here is our nav bar, right? Our bottom nav, and we can scroll with it, and the head also scrolls. So that's looking okay. Let's just give it a box shadow here, so that it can it can be a bit more visible. So let's give it a box shadow. Will this even work? Box shadow. Yeah, it just very slight, but I think it gives it the box shadow on the bottom. Now there is a problem with this, and the problem with this is that we can no longer see, let me show you, we can no longer see this element. So that is a problem. So let me see, perhaps we can do something like give it a margin on the top of 10. What happens there? What happens? Nothing happens. How do you fix it? There's a property. I know there's a property, but I can't remember it. Let me go inside this previous element, which should be, oh, these things went at the phone, the mobile. So this part, if I go inside here, so if I go inside here and I give this a margin bottom, wait a minute, the bottom nav has what? Where is the padding here? The padding of 4. It has a padding of 4, and then padding of 4 is what? 16 pixels, and 2xl on the icon is 24 pixels and a line height of 32. So if I go to this, so this is 24 plus 32, and then plus 16, that is 72 if I'm correct, and then plus this, actually that's a bit too much, maybe 76 plus this is what? Is that 100 or 110, whatever it is? So 110, that means that if I go and give this a margin bottom of about, how much is 40? 160, let's say 32. How much is 32? 128, let's say 20 or 24. 96. Let's try with 24 first, and this should push this to the bottom a bit more. Almost there, almost there. So see, now there's just a little bit of space here. So what you can do is just reduce this perhaps to 20 to get rid of this space. Just right about there. That should be fine. That should be fine. Okay. Now let's go inside our rewards page and let's actually begin building. So rewards. Now what we need to do is we need to get, where is it? We need to get this image. So let me save this image as well as this image. This these 4 images are actually one image in one. So let me save them. And so I have saved these images, and what I've done is inside my images folder, I've created a new folder called rewards, and rewards has the grid SVG. The grid SVG is this part, and then the royal packs, this one is this top part, this top image, this one. So that's how I'm structuring them. And for images for the other pages, I'm going to do the same thing. So let's go inside rewards. Let's close this and close this and this one, as well as this one and this one. We can close all of them actually. What am I doing? So inside rewards, let's go ahead and just, let me call this hero. Let me call this hero.js because we can put everything inside here because this is only one big component. Let's say RFC to generate all this. Let's call this hero with a capital H, and then let's return a fragment. And then inside here, we're going to return a section. Oops, a section. And then this section is going to have an image component because this image component is this top one. And then for the image, the source for this is going to be royal, what do I call it? Royal packs SVG. Royal packs SVG. And then the width for this is going to be about 500. The height is going to be about 200. And then the alt attribute is just going to be royal packs. And then below this, we're going to have a div, which is going to be this text as well as this image, as well as maybe this text as well. So let's create a div. Inside here, let me just copy and paste it here. Change this into royal grid. The width can be this about what, maybe 250. Let's say 250. The height also is 250 because it is a square. And then this can be the same alt attribute. And then below this, above this, we're going to have an H1 that says royal packs, so royal. And then below this, we're going to have a paragraph that says, actually not a paragraph, but this is the heading as well, because the font is the same as this one. So let me say an H2 that says this. So let me copy this text and paste it here. And then below this div, we're going to have another div. And then this other div is going to be, actually, you know what? This text is closer to this one. So let me place it below the H2. A paragraph that says this. Oops, copy it once. There you go. And then now inside this div, we are going to have some text. So a paragraph that says this. And I realize that this is a link that links towards the offers page. So we can actually do that. So it says click here. So here is the link. Click, come on, click here. So let's add in a link here. The href is going to go into /offers. There we go. And then the text says here, and then exclamation afterwards. And then below this paragraph, we're going to have a button that says earn now. So we're going to have that, and then we can begin to style up this page. So let's just save it. Actually, it's going to break because we don't have these images. So let's import these images, and we're going to say import royal packs SVG from art/images /rewards /royal packs SVG. Wait, what do I call it? I called it rewards royal packs. What am I doing? So rewards royal packs .svg. And then we're also going to put the second image called royal grid from art/images /rewards grid.svg. And then let's import our image component. So import image from next/image, then bring it on top. And then what else do we need? Nothing. Oh, the link. We need the link. So control spacebar, import link from next link, and then save it. And then let's take a look once this reloads, and we should have some pretty ugly looking stuff here. Is this going to reload today? Wait a minute. is, oh, you know what? I'm not rendering this. So let's go inside our rewards page. So rewards and then page.js. And then here, let's render the hero. And this hero should come from rewards hero. Now remember that we have a hero inside the home page. So we don't want this one, we want this one that is coming from the rewards page. So make sure that you're getting the correct inputs. Let's save it, and then now we should be able to see something on the screen. And there we go. So looking quite ugly. So let's begin to style it out. And let's go inside our hero component. Inside this section, let's give it a class name. And we're going to give it a class name of max width to limit it. Give it a padding on the top of 20. And then for large screens, we're going to say give it a padding on the top of 32, just to increase the padding on the top so that this image pushes downwards. And then here, I'm also going to say give it a padding on the X of 4 so that we have a bit of leeway so that this doesn't touch the edges of the screen. And then let me also say what, actually that's it, let's save it, so that now this should be centered and then pushed downwards somewhere. We also need padding on the bottom. We need padding on the bottom of 10 so that we can have some bit of padding just in case this part reaches on the bottom now. And then let me see if I can go ahead and just say text center here. Will that center everything? I think it should, right? Except the images, obviously. So let's go inside this first image, give it a class name of block and mx auto, which should now center it. And then let's copy this and paste it on the second image as well, which is, oh wait a minute, it should be this one. So now these images should now be centered like so, looking nice. And then let's see what we need to do. We need this to be red in color. There's no spacing here except maybe for this one. And then what we need this to push downwards and then this to be red in color. So let's begin to style it out. Let's begin. So let's go inside our global CSS file. Let's grab this color orange. Oh wait, we have this class called text orange. I forgot about it. So inside this h1, let's give it a class name of text-orange. Let's give it a text of -4xl. And then inside this h2, let's give it a class name of margin on the bottom of 8 to push away from this part. And then let me see, we need inside this paragraph, we're going to give it a class name of margin bottom of 20 to push away from this part from, where is it? What am I doing? Okay, yes, that's correct. So to push away from this part. And then inside this paragraph, so this one, we're going to give it a class name, margin bottom of 8 to push away from this button. And then let's tell out this button to give it a class name. And we're going to say BG orange. I remember that class. And then we need text white. We need padding Y of 2. We need padding X of about 6. We need rounded dash full. And then what else? What else? Nothing. Let's save it. Let's see what we have. What can we do to correct it? Okay, so we have that. Now see what I was saying. So right here, so we need to increase either the margin bottom or the padding bottom. So I think the padding bottom is going to work better. So let's increase this to about 20 to increase the padding, the margin bottom here. There we go. So that's looking almost okay, but let me increase it to about 28 to just increase it a bit more. And then on the bottom, we're going to give it a width of full so that it spans the entire width of the device. I mean, up to until where our max width ends. And this is a bit too big. So let's say width dash a half. Though this is going to be the button here, I think. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, that's looking okay. That's much better. That is much better. And would you look at that? That is our rewards page. Now we need this to be underlined so that someone can click on it and it's going to go into the offers page, which we don't have. So we're going to get a 404 page, but we're going to fix in a moment. So let's go inside here, inside the href. Oops. Give it a class name. And we're going to say underline, which is just going to give it a very slight underline. And then once we can click on it, then we can go into the offers page, which is what we're going to do next. And so just like we did for the rewards page, what we're going to do is inside the source folder and then inside the app folder, we're going to create a new folder called offers. And then inside offers, we're going to create a new file called page.js. And then inside here, we're going to say RFC and then change this to offers and then change this to offers page. So offers page, save it. So that now once it saves, then this should now reload so that it actually shows the offers page. And then if it reloads sometime today, there we go. So we have offers page. And we know that the offers page should also show the heading on top. So also need to render the heading, but we're going to do that in a moment. And then inside components, we're going to create a new folder here called offers. And this is going to have the components for the offers page, which is basically this part. So that's looking okay. Now let's go ahead inside here and let's return a fragment, and then let's return the header component. And the header component is coming from this one, so components home header. Save it, and then now we should be able to see our header on the offers page. So for the offers page, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go inside here, inside my offers, so components offers. I'm going to create a new file that is called offers.js. Is that going to be a naming issue? I hope it's not. It might be because I want to render this component here. So let me call this foods.js. And then let's say RFC, render it something inside here, change this to capital F. And then inside my page, inside my offers page, I want to render the foods components, not footer. So foods, there we go. Make sure that you're getting it from the correct path. So components offers foods. And now when I save it, then we're not going to be able to see anything because it is technically behind the header. So now what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and copy the class names from my rewards page from the hero. So I want to copy these class names. And then inside my foods, I'm going to paste them inside here, but I'm going to remove the text center. So that now we should be able to see foods appearing somewhere here or here. Okay, so now let's begin to build this part out. And so what I want to do is I want to create this first part, and then I want to create one of all of these, and then we're just going to do a bit of copying and pasting. So let's begin with this top part. So we're going to return, let me grab all of this because I want to return a fragment first of all. And then inside here, I'm going to create an article. And then this article is going to have a class name called BG white to make it white. It's going to have a padding all around of 4 and a rounded of large. And then inside this article, I'm going to have this icon. So let's go into React icons to get the icon. Oh my God, what is happening to my computer? React icons. So React icons. And then let's search for tag. That looks like a tag, right? So you want the one facing this other side, so this one. And then we're going to say render this part or this icon, and then let's import it. So import this icon from React icons, and it is a bootstrap tag. Oh, by the way, I just remembered to mention, in case you're wondering where the imports are actually coming from, it's just basically the first 2 letters of the icon. So this is coming from bootstrap. And then usually if you get one that is an IO tag, HI, where is I? If you get something like this one, which is an IO tag, always import it from IO5. Remember that issue that we had in the beginning of this video? So if you get an IO tag, import it from IO5, and then the other ones are just basically the same. So once we have this part, then we want some text that says have a promo code. So I'm going to say this is going to be an H2 because this is like you know what, not even an H2, this is an H1 because it describes what this page is about. This page is about offers, so have a promo code, have a promo code. It's capitalized, so code with a capital P. And then I'm going to save this, and then something is going to render on the screen here, right there. There we go. And then I'm going to go inside this article, change this to a flexbox, and then I'm going to say items center, and then give it a gap of about 4 just to separate it out a bit from this tag right around there. And then we need this to be red in color and then the tag to be white. So inside this tag, actually not, now I'm going to grab it, cut it out, place it inside the button so that I can go inside this button and give this button a class name of BG orange because we have that class somewhere. And then I'm going to give it a padding all round of about maybe 2. And then I'm going to give it a rounded of full, which is going to make it rounded. And then for this one, I'm going to give it a class name of text white to make it white in color, so that now when this reloads sometime today, then we're going to have the correct looking icon. There we go. So have a promo code looking nice. And then probably we should make this smaller, so give it a class name of text dash base, which is 16 pixels. And then we can reduce this padding on the top, I think, so we can reduce this. So this is looking nice. Now I want to build out one of these. So below this article, I'm going to create a div. Now I'm creating a div because I want the div to be the parent of all these other elements, so that we can add equal spacing without having to like go inside every single article, you know. So we're going to have that as the div. We're going to have the div as a parent, and then we're going to have an article, and this article is going to have similar classes to this. So copy and paste them here. I don't think we're going to be using flex on the parent article, so we can remove this. And then inside this article, what we want is we want 2 divs. So one div is going to be this image, and actually we can just place it as the image, and then the other div is going to be the h2, which is the name of this mill. So let's copy that, place it inside an h2. Oops. And then below this h2, we're going to have some text, so some paragraph text here. Copy this, paste it here, and then below this we're going to have a button that says pick up only. So we're going to save that. Oops, we need the actual image. So the source for this image, I think we can just grab the source for this. So copy image address, paste it here, and then the width is going to be, this is about what, maybe 50, and then, or let me say 80, and then the height is also going to be 80, and then the alt attribute here is going to just be the title of this. So I can, let me just copy this, paste it here. Let's save it. Let's remember to import the image component, so import it right there. Let's save it, and then now let's take a look at this, and we should be able to see something. And we see image is not defined. I just defined it right now. Oh, or can we not do this? You know, Next.js still has issues. Not really, I'm the one who has issues with Next.js. Will you reload, please? So it says invalid source prop. So I guess we can't, or you know what, let me see image in Next.js. Let me see what we can and can't do, because I'm not too conversant with the image component either. So let me see. Source is that. Okay, so you know what, let me just go ahead and download this image. So let me grab this image, save it, and then inside I'm going to create a new file here called offers, and then inside offers I'm just going to call this what, image-1, and then let's go ahead and remove this part. Let's render image1, and then let's also import it, place this on the next line. Let's say import image1 from art/images/offers/image-1.webp, and then we should be able to see it here once this reloads. And there we go. Now this image is a bit too small, so let's render this as about maybe 150, and then we can begin to style all of this out. So the first thing that we need to do is, that's looking nice. So let's go inside this div, give this a class name of margin top of 4 to just increase the margin between these two elements right there. And then inside this article, we're going to change this to a flex box so that this comes here. There we go. And then I'm going to say items dash center so that it moves to the center bit. And then I'm going to give it a gap of 4 to separate it out from the image. Reload, please. Reload. Okay, there we go. So just to separate it out from the image just a bit. And then let's see. So we need this entire text to be just a bit smaller. So inside this h2, let's give it a class name. And we're going to say text dash xl maybe. And then inside this paragraph, we're going to give it a class name. And we're going to say text dash small. And then let me see, this button needs to have some custom styles. So let me go inside my global CSS. We want to grab this color. And then we're going to go back inside the button, give it a class name of bg dash, and then place in our custom color. Give it a padding y of 1, a padding x of 2, a rounded dash full, and a text of white. That should be enough. Let's see what we have on the screen. There we go. And then change this to text dash small and a margin top of about 4 as well, just to push it away from this text a bit. And then on this text, I want to give it a margin top of 2 to push it away just a bit from this heading. So that's looking okay. Maybe increase the padding on the X of this button. It looks a bit ugly, and that should do it. There we go. So now that we have this is the general structure that we're going to be using for all these other ones. Now what I'm going to do is I want to create an array of objects which is going to hold all this data, because I don't want to create like how many articles. Imagine creating this article for all these. That would be quite a bit of hassle. So what I'm going to do is right above this, I'm going to create an array of objects, and I'm going to say const, like what? Let me just say items, or let me say offers. Const offers is equal to an array of objects, and it's going to be structured as follows. We want the image, which we're going to be importing. So this one comes from image 1, and then we want the title, which is going to be this. So copy this, paste it here, and then below this we want the description, which is going to be the paragraph text. So this one, and then it's going to be here, and then below this we're going to have the button, and in this case it says pick up only. And then what else do we need? I think it's only that. I think that's it. That is it. Now we can do a bit of toggling to check whether the button should say pick up only or delivery only. And so before I do that, what I want to do is I want to substitute this. I just want to paste this downwards one more time, and then I want to substitute this part. I want to map over this data so that we can substitute it here. Now, before we do that, what we need to do is we need to import use state from React so that we can set up our state values. So inside here, I'm going to say const, let me say cards is equal to use state. And by default, I want it to take in the offers data that I've just created here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div on top of this with the same classes here. So class name margin top of 4. And then I'm basically just substituting all this. Now I'm going to copy this article. Actually, I'm going to cut it out, then remove this. And then I'm going to say offers dot map. And then for every offer that I get back, I also want to get back the index of the item. So index. And then here I want to return this article. Okay, except that now the source should be dynamic. So I'm going to say offer dot image, meaning offer dot the property called image here. And then for the h2 here, I want to say offer dot title, meaning it's going to be dynamic according to the title of the current object. And then this should say offer dot description, and then this one says offer dot button. And then the alt attribute here should now say offer.title as well, meaning the title of the current what's it called, the current item. And then here, because we are mapping over a list of items, we return a list, so it needs to have a unique key, which in this case is going to be the index. So that now when I save this, we're going to have two articles here, but they're going to be the same data. And then we're going to change that so it says what really cannot, oh, I keep on forgetting this is Next.js, not React, so we need to say use client on top. And then let's reloading, and there we go. So we have two items here. And then remember that I created a div to be the parent element. So now I'm going to go inside this div, give it a class of grid and grid columns -1 with a gap of about 4, just to separate them out just a bit. And there we go. So now all we're going to be doing here now is just substituting this for the correct images and then the correct titles. Now this is quite a big page, so I don't want to do all of them. So I'm going to do about like maybe these 4 or 5. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me copy this part, copy and then paste it for the title here. Oops, make sure it's on the same line. And then this one, copy and paste it for the description. And then the button says that, and then the image source here, let me copy image address, and then let me place it inside here as a string. I think that should work. Let me save it and then let it reload just to see whether it actually works, or whether I'm going to be having, yeah, it doesn't work. So let me just download it. So download, and I'm going to call this image-2, and then let's substitute it here, and it's called image2. There we go. So that now, oops, I need to import it. So image2 and then image-2. So that now when I save it and it reloads, then we should be able to see the second image with the correct data. And there we go. So I want to do this for about 3 more items. So I'm going to just cut it out to where I've already done it, because I don't want to show this boring stuff. So I have 4 images now. I have 4 of them. So when I save it and it reloads here, then we should have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So that's looking quite nice, if I do say so myself, which I do. And then if you want to add some more of these, all you need to do is just follow the same procedure here. Just follow the same procedure of adding this in, and then just save it and it's going to reload. So that's looking okay. That is looking okay. Now, something that we can do here is we can add another property to check whether this should be pickup only or delivery only. So what you can do is right here we can add a property that says maybe delivery and set it to a boolean, either true or false. And then I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. Oops, paste it here and here. Are those 4? Okay, delivery true. So this should say false, right? And then this should also say false. And then this one is delivery true, and then this should say false. And then now what we can do is we're going to cut out this button. We're going to cut out this button, and then we're going to add a check here that says if offer dot delivery is true, meaning if offer dot delivery, meaning if this evaluates to true, then we want to render a button that says delivery only, and then if it renders to false, then we want to render the pickup only button. And actually this is wrong, it should be a question mark. So if it is true, then we want to render the other button, not this one. And then if it is false, then we want to render this button. So we just need to change out these styles a bit, and then also change this out, because now this should be a string that says if delivery is true, then the button should say delivery only. And then this should now say pick up only. And then we need to change the text for this. So this BG should be transparent. And then it should have a border, and then the border color, border dash, should be hashtag 502215. And I think the text should also be text hashtag 52215. So deliver only and pick up only, so that when I save this, then it should evaluate. So see that right there? It should now evaluate to the correct items, and it says deliver only and pick up only. And then that means that this part here is now useless. This property called the button is now useless. So you can remove it. And then what remains is the same thing that you can see here. Let's remove these spaces. Let's remove these spaces. There you go. And now that we have that, then all we need to do is create our menu page, which we're going to navigate to and get a 404 page. But the menu page is the page that has the most bit of functionality, I think. And so let's go ahead and create that next. So the first thing I'm going to do is inside my source folder, and then inside my app folder, I'm going to create a new folder called menu. And then inside menu, I'm going to create a new file called page.js. And then I'm going to say RFC inside here to generate the component. And then change this into menu. And then I'm going to change this to say menu page. And then I'm going to go inside my components folder. And then I'm going to create a new folder here called menu. And then inside menu, I need the header for the menu. And then we need this other part, which I don't know what kind of components I'm going to call this yet. So inside the menu, let's create a new file called header.js. And then let's say RFC inside here, change this to a capital H. And then inside page.js, we can now remove this part. And then we can render the header component, which is now coming from menu. Now import the correct component, okay? And then once we can save that, we also want to go ahead and create a new file inside the menu components. And I'm just going to call it like hero.js for lack of a better name. And then I'm going to say RFC inside here as well, change this to a capital H. And then inside page here, I'm going to render the hero that is coming from menu. Where is it? This one that is coming from menu hero. And then let's close this out. Let's save it. And then let's see what we have on the screen, which should be this once it reloads. And we have the header here and have the hero. So let's begin to style this out. I'm going to go inside the header.js, this one right here. I'm going to return a header element with the BG of orange and a padding all around of 4. And then it's going to be fixed because I want to be able to scroll with it. I don't know whether this is scrollable, but we have been using scrollable headings, so I'm just going to make it scrollable once again, and then give it a width of full as well. And then inside here, I'm going to create a div with a class of max width so that it is limited and it doesn't go there to the end. And then inside this div with a class of max width, I'm going to create 3 divs. Now this first div is going to be empty so that it creates this space. And then this second div is going to have an h1 or an h2 rather that says locations. And then the third div is going to have a button. And then this button is going to be this map button. So let's search for map, and we're going to use which one? It is the empty one, so I'm going to use this one, and then just paste it in as a component. And then we're going to say import, not import, but import this from React icons / bootstrap. And then let's go ahead and save this, and let's see what we have on the screen right here. And would you look at that? That looks ugly. So let's begin to style this out. Let's change, where is it? Let's change this to a flexbox, and then items center, and then justify center. And then this should bring the locations here and the icon here. There we go. Or rather, it doesn't. Oh, sorry, justify between, not center, justify between, which should now bring the icon here, right here. There we go. And then let's change the text to white. So let's say text-white to make everything whiter. And we're going to have that. Maybe make this text a bit bigger. Give this a class name of text-2xl. Make it just a bit bigger. Looking nice. Now, why is this one raised above this? It seems like it has a bit of margin on the bottom. Why? because it's a div. So let's not place this inside the div. Let's just have it as a button, and it should move downwards a bit. There we go. That's much better. And then now let's see. So we need these to pick up delivery. So these two buttons, I'm going to place them inside my hero component. So inside here, let's begin to render out our buttons. And for our buttons, I'm going to render a UL with two list items, and they're going to be buttons. So let me just do this. And then the first button says pick up, and then the second button says delivery. Okay. And then once we have that, then we need a form below this. So we need a form that has no action, but it has an input with a type of text, and then the name is going to be search, because this is it's search because you can search for an address here. And then the ID is going to be search, and then the placeholder is going to be your address. Apologies if you can hear some kind of banging noise. So your address, and then we have that. Once we have that, then we want to render below this form. We're going to render three buttons once again. Okay, so UL with three list items, which are going to be buttons. The first button says nearby. The second button says favorites. The third button says recents. Okay, now this is the general crude structure that we have, but I might just play around with this. I might play around with it, not really play around, that's the wrong word. Refactor. I might refactor it depending on how the component changes. So let's go ahead and begin to style this out one by one. So let's save it actually, and let's render it. Let's render it inside location. So here, sorry, we should be able to see it because we're already rendering it. Now it is behind, the top part is behind this heading. So let's go inside offers and inside foods, and then let's copy these top styles. Let me copy this part, and then inside our hero we can just paste it. We can create a div here and then paste in these classes, and then cut out this entire div and return a fragment instead, because I like fragments. And then let's see what we have. So we have that looks okay. So pick up delivery. Now let me see. So pickup is the default one. Wait, okay, so that means pickup, when you click on pickup, then these components, so everything inside here should show, and then when you click on delivery, then the model should show. So that means that we need to have a model component. So let's go inside the menu here. Let's create a new component called model, and actually let's begin with that because it seems a bit easier. So let's say RFC. Let's change this to a capital M, and then inside model here we're going to return a fragment. Then let me open it up to see what you have. So enter your address. So it has this icon here. So we have this icon, we have the model, and then we have this part. Okay, so obviously we need to begin with creating the model first. So let's create a div inside here. The div is going to have a class name of max width dash, maybe 2XL, and an MX of auto. And then below this we're going to have an icon called gr close, which I'm getting from memory, and then let's import it. So import gr close from react icons /gr, and then below this we're going to have an h2 that says enter your address, and then below this h2 we're going to have a form which is similar to this one. So let me just copy this form and paste it here, and then below this, and actually this id is going to give us issues, so let me say id search2, and then below this we're going to have some paragraph text that says unit can be entered during checkout. So unit can be entered during checkout, and then below this we're going to have another paragraph that says this. Let me just copy it rather than typing it all out. Can I not copy it? I can't copy it. Really? Okay. Delivery terms and fees apply. And fees apply. Click here for details. Okay, and then we have a button here that says deliver. I can't type. Deliver here. So that's looking okay. That is our model. So let me save it, and then let me give it a bg of, remember the color that we had in our globals.css. So globals.css, so this color, copy it and then just paste it here, and then let's save it. And then inside hero I'm going to render the model. Where should I render it? I think I can render it here. So model, let's import the correct image, so the correct component from /model, because it is in the same folder, and then save it. And then it should break this a bit. It should break it a bit. There you go. So that is our model. Now what I want to do is this. I want to grab this entire div, cut it out, and place it inside another div, so that this div can have the classes where this it kind of gives like a slightly opaque feel to it. So we want to style that out right away. So I'm going to give this a class name of bg black, and then I'm going to say absolute and bring it to the top by 0, left 0, bottom 0, and right 0, which is going to break this, as you can see right there. So it breaks this up, right? Now I'm also going to give this a z index of 50. I think it should place it above this, I hope. Nope, it doesn't. Because remember, this also has a z index of 50. Now the problem with the tailwind is that it doesn't go above 50. So let me try and put a custom value here and say 99. I don't know whether this is going to work. I hope it does, so that it goes, there we go. Now obviously we don't want this to happen, right? We don't want this to happen. So here we can add an opacity on the background by saying bg opacity and then setting it to about like 25, and that should be enough so that it has some opacity here. And there we go. I can say about 40 maybe, so that it's just a bit more opaque. Yeah. And then now this is our model, right? So this is our model. And then now what we want to do is we want to go inside this div, sorry, not inside this, inside the model, I mean the wrong component. So inside the model, we want to begin to style up the model. Now we can increase this to about 4xl to make it a bit wider, right there. How wide is this? It's not so wide, maybe 3xl. And then what we need to do is inside this issue, we're going to give it a class name, and we're going to say text-2xl. I'm in the wrong place, so text-2xl to increase this. And then let me check how this looks on mobile. So on mobile, right around, yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine, because remember we have a padding on the x of 4, so it pushes it inwards. So that's looking okay. So let's continue to style this out. So inside this div, let's give it a padding all round of 8, make it rounded dash large. I don't know, let me start with the 4 for mobile, and then on large screens I can say padding all round of 8, padding all round of 8, so that it just pushes inwards just a bit, and then it has a rounded border. My application is not reloading. Okay, there we go. So that we're going to have that. Yeah, that looks okay. And then we need the entire text to be centered. So I can go inside here and say text-center, but I don't know whether that is going to affect the icon. Let's find out. It doesn't. Nice. And then let's go inside this issue. Let's give it a margin on the Y of about 8 to push it away from this icon on the top and then from this form on the bottom. And then that should be fine. Maybe make it a bit larger. Let's say for large screens, text dash 4xl. How is 4xl? We can work with that. And then the next is what? Next is this one. Let me see. This should be a width of 4. Let's go inside here. Let's give it a class name and let's say bg white. rounded dash large, padding y of 3, padding x of 6. Let's say placeholder. The placeholder text should be the same color as this one. Let's go inside our CSS. Let's grab this color, and then let's just paste it inside here. And then the text should also be not white. The text should also be the same color. And then let's see what else we can say. I want a slight box shadow on the input, and then I want the width to be 9/12, which is width 9/12, which is 75%, right? Yes, 75% of the entire container. And then inside this paragraph, we can give it a class name, and we're going to say text orange to give it the kind of red or orange kind of text. And then let's give it a margin on the top of 8. And let me see, margin on top of 8, margin on the bottom is a bit bigger. So let's say margin on the bottom of 12. And then, well, how is this styled? So this is just the same as the text, really. The same as it can even remain as it is, but we can add a margin on the bottom to push that from the button. So class name is equal to margin bottom of 8. And then for this one, we're going to say give it a class name of padding on the y of 3, padding on the x of 6. We're going to give it a width of 9, width dash 9/12. And then we're going to say give it a border with a border color of the very same color that we have on top. And then the text color is going to be the same as that one. That should be okay. Let's save it. Let's see what we have for our model. Once it reloads, there we go. We need to make this rounded. So let me say rounded dash full. And we're going to have that. Would you look at that? That's looking nice. That is looking nice. This can be bold. So let's say font bold. And that model is looking nice. We only need to implement the functionality for this. So the way we do that is we're going to go inside our hero. Now our hero, we are going to import use state, and then remember to add a use client here so that we don't have any issues. Now inside here, we're going to put a state value called isModel, or you can say isModel open, but that is a bit of a longer name for me. And set isModel. Or you know what? Let me not say that. Let me say show model. Show model is a bit more descriptive. So show model and set show model is equal to use state, and by default it's going to be false because we don't want to be able to see the model when we load in the application. And then on this button on delivery, we're going to have a click event. So on click, and we're going to say that when we click on this, we're going to pass in our inline function, and then we're going to call this function called set show model. So set show model, and we're going to set this to true, so that when you click on the delivery button, then the model shows up. And then now this needs to be dependent on the show model state value. So we're going to cut it out, and then we're going to place our curly brackets and say that only when show model is true, that's when we want our model to show up. And then inside the model, because we want to be able to close the model, right? So the model itself needs to have access to this state value as well as this function. So here we're going to say show model prop. The show model prop is going to be equal to the show model state value, and then the set show model prop is going to be equal to the set show model function. So that now I can save this, and our functionality technically works. If I were to reload this, then the model is going to disappear, right? But now notice that it disappears, and then we still have these issues. But now when I click on delivery here, then it shows our model. And then now I want that when I click on this, it also makes our model disappear. So inside the model right here, I'm going to say that on this button, I want an on click on the icon, not the button, where I'm going to call my set show model function, where I'm going to say set this to false, and then I can destructure it inside here and say set show model. And I think when I do that, it means that I don't need this first part. I don't need this one. So you can save it, and then notice that when I click on this, then it disappears, and when I click on the delivery button, it appears. So that's looking okay. That's looking nice. Now we have an issue here where I don't know why it's showing this. Okay, you know what? I know why it's showing it. I know why it is showing it. It's because I placed this on the wrong element. I should have placed it inside the model. So let me grab, I think, these entire classes. So all these classes, and then let's remove this div. I think we can remove it, and then remove the bottom one as well. And then inside the model, I'm going to create a div here and then paste in these class names, and then just cut it out because I want to return a fragment as the first element. And that should be okay. So let me save it, and then let me also save this. And then now this black background should disappear. And then when I click on this, it should appear on the model. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. Oh, just notice this needs to have a cursor pointer so that we can show that it is actually clickable. So inside the model, we're going to go here, give it a class name, and we're going to say cursor pointer, so that it has a cursor pointer when I hover over it, so that you can see that it is actually clickable. And then probably we need this model to move downwards a bit. We need it to move downwards just a bit. So how do we do that? We can go here and give it a padding on the top of 20 to push it downwards. That is much better. If you reload sometime today, please. Or this doesn't work. So margin top, maybe. Does margin top work? Okay, there we go. So margin top of 20 just to push it downwards a bit. So that is looking okay. That is our model. Now we need this and the delivery to move to the center. So we can close this model because we are done with it. And then inside here, inside this UL, we're going to give it a class name. And I'm going to say give it a class name of flex and items dash center and justify dash center. And then inside this list item, I'm going to give it a class name of flex dash one. And then I'm just going to copy it and do the same thing on this second list item, so that they each take up 50% of the container in which they are placed. So that we're going to have that. So item center, justify center. Why are not centered? Can I say text center here? That should center you. There we go. And then on this button, I'm going to give it a class name. And I'm going to say I want this color once again. And I'm going to give it a class name of BG. Plus in my square brackets, paste this in, text white and padding Y of 2, padding X of 6, though padding X doesn't really do anything because they are taking up, wait a minute, what? This should be full. So let me say width dash full. That should do it. Yeah, there we go. So width dash full, and then we're going to have this. Okay. This down should have a border. So for this second button, we're going to go here, or let me go after the on click, give it a class name, and then I'm going to say give it a border of 2, and then save it, and that should do it. And that means that it's going to interfere with this a bit. Oh, the border is barely even visible. Let me give it a border dash, and then give it a border color of that, and then say width dash full, which should now make the border width full. Oh, and then give it a padding on the Y. Padding on the Y, what did I use? 2. So padding on the Y of 2, padding on the X of 6. There we go. And then now the reason why this is like overflowing and it is not the same size as this is because border is applied on the outside. It is technically the edge at which the box, the CSS box model begins to count. So border is like the boundary between margin and padding. So what we do to fix this is we just basically go on this button, give it a similar border. So border 2, and then border dash, and then give it this color. That now the border is also applied on this button, and then now they're fixed width. They are not fixed width really, but they are what's it called? They are the same height. That's the word. So we have that, and then we need to create this part. So let's go ahead and style out our form. So our form, the first thing I want to do is give it a margin on the y-axis of 8. So margin on the top and bottom of 8 to push it away from these two elements. And then inside the input, I'm going to give it a class name of what's it called, width dash full. Give it a padding on the y of 3, padding on the x of 6. Give it a placeholder, or rather a rounded of large first of all, and then give it a placeholder text color, placeholder dash, and then paste in our color, and then give it a text color. White is always on my fingers, muscle memory. Give it a text color of that, and then give it a bg of white and a slight box shadow. Save it, and this should span all the way up to here, looking nice. So that is our address bar, not really our address bar, and it needs to have a border. So let me give it a border, and then I'm going to say border dash slate dash maybe like 400. That should be fine. What is this? Yeah, that should be fine. Now that we have the border of slate, then we need to remove the box shadow so that it doesn't do things like that. And then I realized that there's a search icon here. The way you do that to add it inside here is basically you add a label. You can add a label with the icon inside here, and then you position this label absolute within the input, and then just bring it here. That's how you do it. Now what we need to do next is these three components. So these three components. Now to do that, I'm going to create three components. So inside the menu still, I'm going to create a new file called nearby.js, and then just say RFC inside here, change this to a capital N. And then I'm going to create the second one called favorites. So favorites.js, RFC inside here, change this to a capital F. And then I'm going to do another one called recents. So recents.js, say RFC inside here, change this to a capital R. Now when I save this, then what I want to do is I'm going to go, where is it? Not hero. Okay, it's inside the hero. Now inside the hero, I'm going to create a new state value called value, not const value. And then I'm going to create the function called set value, and this is going to be equal to useState, and it's going to be equal to some piece of data that I want to create. Now the piece of data is going to be referencing the components. So inside here, I want to import the components. So I'm going to say import nearby from nearby, and then copy this down 2 more times, change this to favorites, and then change this to favorites as well, and then change this to recents, and then change this to recents. Now let's go ahead and create our piece of data. So I'm going to say, let me call this components is equal to an array of objects, and then I just want to reference the name of the component. So the name here is going to be nearby. It's going to be nearby, so it's a component, so nearby. And then just do this 2 more times. So select this and say shift alt and down 2 more times, change this to favorites, and then change this to recents. Now always remember that when you're creating a piece of state like this and you're referencing React components, then always import React on top. Let me say that because a child was screaming outside. When you're creating a piece of state like this and you're referencing React components, always make sure that React is imported on top. Otherwise, it's going to give you an error because JavaScript doesn't understand where this is coming from. And so once we have that, then we need to create another state value which is going to hold this component's data. So I'm going to say const, let me call this items is equal to use state, and by default I want it to have the components data, and then let me place it on top so that this comes second. And then now I can destructure the name from the components, and then I can set it equal to the components depending on the current value that I have. And the value here by default is going to be 0, and it is 0 because arrays are indexed from 0. So this is the 0 item, meaning the first item. This is the 1 item, meaning the second item, and then this is the 2 item, meaning the third item. Now once we have that, then I can go ahead and I can say this. I can say that below this UL, now below the UL, which is going to be somewhere here, I want to render the what's it called? The name, this name. I want to render it. So I'm going to render it inside the div. not a data grid, inside a div, and then I'm going to render the name. Now what we should see is we should see nearby here, because nearby is the first component that is being rendered, and here we are saying that we are getting the name of the component depending on the value that we have. Meaning if I change this to 1, then it should show favorites, and if I change this to 2, then it should show recents right there. So that is working correctly, and we're going to be using this to toggle between these 3 buttons that we have here. So let's begin to style out these components. Now I realize that the favorites and the recents components don't really have anything. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab this icon and then find a location nearby. We're just going to render this. So let me save this. Is this even savable? Let me see. Oh my god, my computer is dying. So this is an SVG. So let's copy this SVG. Let's right click and say copy element. And then inside our nearby component, so nearby, we're going to be returning a div. And then inside this div, we're going to return the SVG, which is huge. It's so huge. And then below this, we're going to render an H2 that says find a location nearby. And then now, just like we did for the other SVGs, remember, where we refactored them. Where is it? Go back to the homepage. So for this SVG, remember we refactored it and then we called it logo. Inside the home, we called it logo. You can do the same thing for this SVG so that it doesn't like make your file too huge, as you can see right here, right? Now, if you want to do that, you can do that. I'm just going to leave it here because it is a pretty small component and it is only rendering the UI. So inside the nearby, I want to render this and then the text that says, please, let me just copy it. Not really. Copy, paste it here. And then below this, we're going to have a button. And for this button, I'm just going to copy the styles that we did for our, I think it was the offers or rewards page, because it had a similar looking button. It says share location. It is a capital L. So let's save this. And then what you're going to see on the screen is something like this. Look at that. Okay. Now we do have errors inside here, but we're going to fix them in a moment. What I want to do first is I want to go inside my rewards page. So inside my rewards, inside hero, and I want to copy the styles for this button. So copy these styles. And then back inside my nearby component, I'm going to go to the bottom and then paste the styles inside this button. And then style this H2, give it a class name, and I'm going to say give it a class name of about text-2XL. And then for large screens, XL. Then for large screens, I'm going to say text-4XL. Give it a margin bottom of 8, or margin on the y-axis on the top and bottom of 8. And then inside this button, I'm going to say give it a class name of margin bottom of 8 as well, just to push away from this button. And then I've just realized what we should do for this SVG is we should place it inside a parent element so that we can limit the width of this SVG. So place it inside like an article. So article, give it a width of about maybe like 40 and then a height of 40 as well, so that the SVG is going to be limited within this article so that it doesn't grow so huge. So let's save that and then let's see what we have on the screen. And we're going to have that. So 40 is a bit too big. So let's say about 20. 20, there we go. That's looking nice. And then let's go inside this div, give it a class name. And we're going to say text-center, which is going to center all the text inside here. And then this SVG also needs to be centered. So let me see if I can add a class name here, change it into a block element, and then let's say MX Auto to see whether it's going to center it. And it doesn't. But if I go, what if I do the same for here? Does that change anything? Okay, it does. Okay. So we should have just done that in the first place. Now let's fix any errors that we get inside here. So the fill is going to be this, and I don't think we have, do we have any issue inside here? Because usually the issue is just to change the properties into camel case, but we don't seem to have that inside here. Okay, that's okay. Then what we should do now is we want to be able to toggle this, but I don't want to do that yet because I want to go back to the top and add a padding on the y-axis of 10 so that this pushes downwards just a bit. And then what I want to do is for the favorites and for the recents, I also want to create their components. So let's go inside favorites. I mean, for now, actually, it can remain as it is, but let's go inside the homepage, give this a class name of flex and item center, and then justify dash, let me say between, which will now bring this here. There we go. And not even between, let's say evenly, so that they're not so close to the edges. And then for these buttons, let me say give it a class name. Now the class names for these buttons need to be dynamic depending on the value, which means that when we are very nearby, then the nearby component should have this bottom border, and then so on and so forth, right? So what I'm going to do is this: we need these class names to be dynamic. Oops. So I'm going to place my curly brackets and then my backticks and then $sign and then my other curly brackets. So any styles that I'm going to be writing inside here are going to apply by default, but the styles that I'm going to apply inside here are going to apply only when the value is going to be equal to the current component that we are viewing. So what I mean is this: I can remove this space and I can say that I want this to have a border on the bottom of 2, and then I want it to have a border of slate of, let me say, 400. And what you're going to see is obviously this is going to be an issue because we need to have some styles here. So let me just say text white, for example, so that we don't have any problems. And what you're going to see is the following. Now when this reloads, obviously, so this is going to be a white text, but notice that it has the bottom border. Now if I go and simply place a condition here and say that only when the value is equal to the index. Now I know we don't know where the index is coming from. We're going to get it in a moment. Only when the value is equal to the index, that's when I want the text of white to appear. Now let's go ahead and get this index because it's going to, as you can see, it gives us an issue, right? So actually let me remove where starting from here up to here. Let me remove that, and actually let me remove this as well. Let me just save it, and then what we're going to do is this: we're going to go back to the top. We're going to add another property here called button, and the button here is going to say nearby, just basically substituting what we have hard coded here. And then let me just copy this here and here, change this to favorites, and then change this to recents. And then now what we can do is we can go and grab this UL, cut it out, and then we can map over our data. Now remember that our data is somewhere inside here because we placed it inside components, right? Inside this state value called items. So I'm going to say items.map, and then because we want to get the button, so I'm going to call the object that we get back, I'm going to call it buttons. So for every button that we get back, I also want to get back the index of the button, and then I'm going to return a button. Actually this is actually wrong. Let me just paste this in, and then the UL needs to come on top of this, and then this needs to come on the bottom, and then this needs to be a React fragment. So let me say react.fragment, and then render the list items, and then inside here let's render our unique key called index. And then now what you can do is this: we can say, place now $sign curly brackets and say that only when the value is equal to the index of the button, that is when we want the following style to apply. So like a style like text white. Now we don't want to render this. We don't want to render list item button, list item, list item. So we don't want this one, obviously, because we are mapping over this. So this is going to be dynamic, which means we're just going to say button.button, which is going to get the text of the button. Remember the property is called button. Now why do we have this error? So we have a class name here, button. We have list item, which is closing the list item. We have the React fragment. So the issue is here. The issue is here. Let me remove this. And actually not, I just realized where the issue is. The issue is because this is the condition, we have not specified whether we want it to evaluate when it is true or when it is false. So here I'm just going to place my double ampersand, which basically means that only when value is equal to index, when this evaluates to true, that's when you want these styles to apply. So now I'm going to save this and watch our application. Now it breaks. I did not expect it to break. So value is equal to index text white. I did not expect it to break. Why do you break now? Why do you break? Button dot button. Recents, favorites. Let me try something. Let me disable this part, and then let me render some dummy text to see where. Okay. Oh, so that means that this is not showing. That means that this is the part that is not showing. So let me see. Remove this. Let me write button and button. What? But button dot button. Oh, you know what? I think it's because we called it button. We called it a similar name. I think it's because we called it a similar name. Oh, wait, what? So it hadn't reloaded. It hadn't reloaded. Okay, so there we go. So now look at these styles. These styles apply by default, but these styles of text white, let me not use text white because it is barely visible. Let me say bg rows 500, and they're going to say that this is going to have a rose background, right? And if I go and change this to a value of 1, meaning the second item, then this now applies, and you can see that even the component changes. And then if I go and change this into 2, which is our final component, then this now applies, and then this changes. So that's basically what you want to do, and you want to be able to click on these buttons to switch the components. Now the way we do that is by going inside the list item on the button, and in this case I want to go inside the list item because the list item spans this entire thing. It spans this entire part, or I would like it to span the entire part. And then I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that on click, when I click on the list item, then I want to pass in my inline function here and say set value meaning this function right here, set the value into the index of the button that we click on. And remember that when we change this, we are also changing this, we are toggling that, and then we're also changing this part, the component that is being shown, because that is dependent on the value here as well. So let me go ahead and save that, and then now when I click on this, it should change, and then I click on this and I click on this and it changes. So that's looking okay. That is looking nice. Now let's go ahead and make these buttons bigger. So I want them to be bigger. So let me go ahead and say this is flex. So if I go on this list item right here, give it a class name, and I say flex 1, it should apply for all of them, or it doesn't. If I say width dash full, it should apply now, or it still doesn't. We might have to play around with our styles just a bit more. So let me do this instead. Let me copy this part, let me cut it out from the button, and then let me place it on the list item, and then let's see. Still the same thing. If I say width dash full here for all of them, okay, there we go. And then text center, okay, and then give it a padding on the Y of about 2. Looking nice. And then obviously I don't want the BG rows here. What I want is I want the border to be a certain color, which should be orange. So let me grab the orange color here, and then let me paste it inside here, and we're going to have that. So the one that is active should have a red border, as you can see, and then when I click on this, it gets the red border, and so on and so forth. Now what I want is I want the entire list item to have a cursor of pointer, so that you can click it shows that you can click on it. So on the list item right here, because I want it to apply for all items, I'm going to say cursor dash pointer. Once again, remember that only the classes that apply inside here apply on the active class, and then these ones apply to everything else. So would you look at that? That's looking nice. Now let's just maybe change this text a bit. So inside the favorites component, so favorites, let's return a div with a class of padding y of 10, and then let's say text-center, and then let's return an h2 with a class name of text-3xl, and then for large screens text-4xl, and then let's say your favorites, let's say your favorites, and then let's just copy this div, save it, and then let's go inside the recents component, and then inside here let's return a fragment, and then let's paste in our div, change this to your recents or your recent orders, and then we're going to have that. So your favorites and then your recent orders, and that is a much better looking component. And then remember that our model is also working, and yeah, that looks nice. Now on the original page, when I click on this, it shows a map. I don't want to do that, but I do have a video where we use Leaflet.js to do something similar, where we built the IP address tracker. You can check out that video as well. And I think that is going to be the end of the video, because we have created all the pages that are needed inside here. We have created all of them. Obviously the my code page does not exist. Let me fix that. So it should be inside homepage, inside bottom nav, and my code here does not exist. It goes into the /, which is the homepage. So this should now reload, go back to the homepage, and we are going to have that. That is much better looking. That is much better looking. And now all you need to do is just deploy this maybe to like Netlify and also to GitHub, not or to GitHub, and we're going to have that nice looking page. Now looking at this on the mobile page, it looks a bit crowded for my taste. It looks just a bit crowded, and even this page doesn't look all that nice. So let's just fix a few things. Let's fix a few things. And what I'm going to fix is the following. I am going to go inside the mobile page, and I want this to display as justified between inside the bottom nav, because remember it is justified evenly by default. So this, I'm just going to set this to for medium screens, and then by default I want it to say justify between, which is going to take all of this to the end, right around. Come on, please reload. There we go. So just adds a bit more space, and then we can remove this because we don't really need this on mobile. So the one that says my code, this one. So for this list item, what you can say is display it as hidden by default, but on medium screens display it as a block element, and then that is going to make it disappear from here. But on medium screens and above, it's going to appear. If this is going to reload sometime today, please. There we go. And then something else that we can do is, I noticed it, but where is it? Where are you? Is it in the menu? No, this one looks okay. It is in the offers. Yes, on the offers page. So on the offers page, inside the foods, what I want to do is I want this to display as flex column by default, so that the images come on top and then the text on the bottom. This is much better. Just look at that. Just changing one style instantly makes it better. And then probably we can make it text centered. So we can say text center, which is going to center all the text. And then what we can do is we can say that for medium screens, then the flex should go back to row. And then right after this, we can say that for medium screens, then the text should go back to left. That instantly makes it much better. And then for the rewards page, we don't really need to do anything. And that is that. And I've just remembered that we did not create our toggle for the menu here. I can leave that to you, I think, because it is just basically creating a use state and then toggling the values as to whether this shows or not. And yeah, that is basically it. So let me deploy this to GitHub. And then let's go into Netlify as well. and Netlify is probably going to give us a bit of issues, and you're going to see why in a moment. I hope it gives us issues. I hope it does. My computer just hung. It's frozen. Okay, there we go. It's still frozen. It's still frozen. Really? Let's create a new repository. I need a new computer. I'm using the laptop that I used to use in university. So it is quite old. It is about, I guess, 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah, thereabout. So let's create a new repository. And then the repository name is going to say I recreate Burger King. So BK, and then create repository. And then let me go here. Let me check that I'm still recording. And then let's close all these pages down. And then let me create a new terminal. And then inside here, let me see. So creating repository, there we go. So just copy this link. And then let's say add a new site from an existing project from GitHub. Let's just leave it at that page because we're going to come back to it in a moment. So authorized. Okay, right there. Now let's begin to add all of this. So I'm going to say git remote add origin and then paste in that link that I've just copied. And then I'm going to say git add package star. And then inside the package JSON, all we did is install React icons. So I'm going to say git commit -m and I'm going to say install React icons. And then inside the source folder, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to say git add let me say cd into the source folder, and then cd into the app folder, and then inside the app folder I'm going to say git add menu, not men, and then git commit. I'm going to say menu page, and then git add offers and git commit, and I'm going to say offers page, and then git add rewards and git commit, and I'm going to say rewards page, and then git add globals.css, and I'm going to say git commit global css styles. Oops, commit has an I, so commit, and then git add layout.js, and then git commit, and I'm going to say layout, and then git add page.js and git commit, and I'm going to say homepage. And then I'm going to cd out of this, and then I'm going to cd into the components folder. So cd components, and then git add home, git commit, and I'm going to say home page components, and then git add menu and git commit -m menu page components, git add offers, git commit offers page components, git add rewards, git commit rewards page components, and then cd out of this, and then cd into the images. And then for the images, we're going to say git add offers and git commit and say offers page images, and then git add rewards and git commit, and I'm going to say rewards page images, and then git commit, git add all, meaning the remaining, and then git commit, and I'm going to say home page images. Oh, that was quite a bit of typing. So once you do that, then we can push it to GitHub by saying git push -u origin main, which is going to push it to GitHub. All you need to do is just wait a moment. And I've just realized that probably what I could have done better is I could have grabbed these images and placed them inside a folder called home, so that these images reference the home page. And there we go. So once it pushes to GitHub, once I reload this, then we should be able to see our application right there on the screen. Would you look at that? I started this project yesterday, but because of the power of editing and taking breaks, it's going to be one video. So let's call this, let's search for recreate -bk, and then let's select this. Let's go ahead, because this is a Next.js site, so let's just say deploy site, and then let's wait for errors to show up in our code, and then we can fix them. I hope none show up, because fixing Next.js errors is quite annoying. Let's change this to TsbSankara / irecreate-bk. And there we go. So it has already failed. So let's see, the reason why it fails is, oh my god, I mentioned this. I said this. So it is hero.js line 28. So hero.js, I think it is the homepage, hero.js line 28. No, it's not this one. Which file is it? Oh, rewards hero.js. So rewards hero.js line 28. 28 or 25? 28. This one? No. Really? This is really annoying. It is really annoying. So basically what it's saying is we need to use an entity here, so an apostrophe entity, like so, and then that should fix it. I hope we don't get any other errors, but you know, we just need to redeploy this. So let me say get add all and get commit, let me say -m, let me say add escape character, and then get what did I not git add all, git commit add escape character. Are you for real? Are you for real? Oh, sorry, we're in the wrong folder. Oh my god. Okay, so let's cd into the components folder, then inside the rewards folder, git add all, git commit, and say add escape character, and then git push. And then when that pushes, then Netlify is automatically going to re-trigger another deploy. So let's go back to our home page. Let's go ahead, and it should be this one. So let's check it out. And let's just wait a few more moments. Okay, so there it goes. It finished deploying. So let's just go ahead and really, oh, here it is. Let's select this, and then let's visit our website. Would you look at that? Someone would think this is the Burger King website. That's looking nice. Oh no, I realized something. I just realized something. Wait, the classes are not applying here. My classes are not applying. I don't want to deal with this. Body div, it should be this one, the list item. So this one, the border bottom. Oh no, the reason why it's not applying is because of specificity. So we need to define the classes. Let me show you. So we need to define, where is it? Which page is this? The menu, and it should be the hero. So we need to define these classes inside our CSS in order for them to apply. This is something with Tailwind. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. So that's why the classes are not applying in our production. But that's okay. That's easy enough to fix. Just simply create a class for this, and then just add that class in your CSS, and then add it here. And then there's something I wanted to check. What did I want to check? Is it the model? No, the model is okay. What did I want to check? I've forgotten what I wanted to check. Anyways, That's okay. That is okay. That's looking nice, nice, nice. So that is going to be the end of the video, and if you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. These videos do take quite a lot of time and preparation to create, so if you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps greatly. Bye bye.